Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
Seems a little bit like ancient history, but 5 years ago we started eRacing GP. I was on the track getting involved. I had no idea that we would have 17 seasons of the eRacing GP. So welcome along to race number 2 of 4 of the season. Victor alongside Des Corkill to talk us through the 3 races for today. And it's getting bigger and better by the year, by the season.
By the season, indeed. It's been a crazy, crazy time that we've been having, and a lot of fun. It's great to have you back on the commentary seat once more. It's always a pleasure, you know, having you alongside.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing a brand new track as far as I'm concerned. We'll be in Kazakhstan. We'll hear about that in just a little bit of a while. As usual, we've got the 3 races coming your way. We've got the Copper. Brand new names for me, I tell you what. I'm recognizing 1 or 2 in the gold and silver, but the bronze as well, 1 or 2 names for me as well. As I keep saying, I'm loving watching this online on Facebook, and the driving's getting much less contested, actually. I've got to complain about that.
Well, the thing is, like, round 1 certainly had its fair share of drama, actually, like especially for the class that we're about to be seeing first off over here in the Copper class. But otherwise, you know, it's great to see like how much has come and grown over the years, isn't it, for the Global Edition?
Absolutely. Season 17. So also I noticed that you're changing the formats quite a bit. You had 2 races for race number 1. This year you're changing it about again, just a single 30-minute race. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, it's just to kind of change things up a little bit because traditionally we always run format A, which makes the 2 races, the normal like qualified grid and then reverse grid. This one kind of gives it a bit more of an endurance flavor to it. You know, they have to sort of run for much longer stints, a lot more strategy is kind of involved here compared to whereas like in format A it's mostly 15-minute sprints, so it's a lot more just about being as fast as possible. Here you got to manage your tires, you got to conserve your energy, and you got to always be on point wherever you're on track.
Okay, in terms of the game itself, what's developed over the last few years?
Well, I think now it's just what we're seeing more development of in particular is just the rise of a lot of online communities running this race. We see that in the participation that we get this time around in G17, you know. So on that note, let's go ahead and have a look at our championship leaders right now, because you can see a lot of representation from many different regions now. We got Chesa Lam from Hong Kong here. He's the current leader for the gold class. Imran Ryan hailing from Brunei is currently leading the silver class, and we got Elliot Sturenagel, United States driver, currently based in Malaysia, and is racing for a Malaysian team. In fact, he's the one in lead of the bronze class. And of course, in the copper class, we have a representative from Sri Lanka here in the form of Duran Abesekera, and the Sri Lankans have certainly been quite the force actually in last season when both of them won both the silver class as well as the copper class.
Yeah, it's good to see the variety of nations in there. Brunei, I know they've got a team. Hong Kong, Chester, I've been following for quite a while, but the Americans coming on board, that's when it gets serious, huh?
Well, certainly we've gone global. It hasn't been global before. It certainly is global now.
These are some of the team standings that we've got. Paperga and Red Pact are leading the way, 105 points. Handshake Sim Racing for Malaysia in 87 points in P2. Apex Racing we know all about from Brunei in 3. Good to see 1 or 2 new names. And Ceylon Motorsports Club, 41 points. And the wonderfully named Swift Sim Racing. Where's James Bond when you need him?
Yeah.
They're in 8th. They've selected 40 points in 8th place.
Yeah, and shout out to Marcus Lacambro who's joined us in the YouTube chat. He's also saying 5 years is crazy, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's flown by.
It's flown. Yeah, it's just so, it's crazy to think like the first time you were doing this until now, you didn't expect it's going to be taking this, like, taking this far,
17
right?
seasons, absolutely. Malaysia still have the top points in the nation standing, 211. Philippines always well represented, 108 points. Indonesia, 82. Great to see the Bruneians actually being competitive with 64. Sri Lanka as well. New place, certainly for me. I know they've been here for a few seasons. 60 points for them. Hong Kong, 45. US of A with 37. Australia and Singapore, the little red dot, yet to get off the mark.
Well, let's hope that you'll be able to step it up when this the season progresses here. Up next, let's have a look at how the season has gone so far. So first round of the season in GE17, we did it in Fuji Speedway. That was quite a dramatic race, putting it lightly there. But this time around, we're coming to Kazakhstan, the Sokol racing circuit in the middle of Kazakhstan itself. 4.5 kilometers, give or take. It's a track that was designed as an FIA Grade 2 track. It was slated to host a Motor Grand Prix race. Unfortunately, that got cancelled back in 2023 due to some flooding. So technically speaking, this track has not actually hosted an official race, but because of the power of sim racing, we're able to bring you guys to the Sokol circuit and to give you guys a taste of what it's like to race in Kazakhstan.
3 long straights, but there's a little bit of technical work to do at the end of the long straight from the farthest north area, which is the highest that we get. Then they go down onto a long straight, and they've got to get themselves in a good position, I think, for that little chicane and then the sharp right-hander.
Yeah, a lot of these elements look very familiar, I think, to many motorsport enthusiasts because it is literally a Tilkedrome. It's literally designed by Herman Tilke himself. So that's why you can see, like, for example, some of the chicanes looking very familiar. The layout itself also looking like a bit like Bahrain, but not quite like Bahrain. I mean, again, it's something that I think a lot of drivers would be very familiar with once we get out on track. So let's have a look right now at what cars we're going to be using for this round. We're starting from the copper class here. We got the GT4 Porsche Cayman. That's the default one of the default
The old
content.
classic, isn't it? The old classic, the Porsche.
Such a fun car to drive, especially on a track like Sokol as well. So for bronze class, we've got GT3 spec cars here. This is a mod brought to you by BCRC. And
But the drivers are able to make some modifications.
well, there's limitations in terms of the setup they could do. There's obviously the BCRC mod has made it all balance of power, so they all effectively have the same kind of power unit, but there's slight variations in the setup just based on the type of make or model they decide to choose for the race. And that's the thing. We do provide them a free choice with regards to that. Now for the silver and gold class, they're running the Le Mans prototype. In the silver class, we got Le Mans prototype 2, and for the gold class, we got the Le Mans hypercar or LMDH available for them.
Okay, I believe qualifying is up and running. We've actually gone more than halfway through the session already.
Yep.
Drivers are out on the circuit, and early on we've got the championship leader from Sri Lanka, Abesekera, who's leading the way at 1:52.8, which is 3/10 quicker than the next man down.
Indeed, that's a really good time there. And again, he's defending his points lead right now, coming into round number 2. A very different environment, this Sokol racing track, because when it came to Fuji, there was a lot more elevation changes to be contended with. That corner we just saw, that was literally the only highest point on that circuit there, the northern tip of the very racetrack itself. After this, it's mostly a lot of straights up until you get to this chicane. I believe this chicane is going to be very hotly contested here, especially for our copper class drivers, because it seems to be one of the best places to actually get good opportunities for overtaking.
Depends maybe how late that you can leave that braking. We saw the markers
Exactly.
150, 150. How risky you can take it.
And a lot more risk going to be coming up soon because we're coming up to the final sector here. We got Durant Abisekera still having a provisional pole time right now, following behind another car here to hopefully get some good slipstreaming action going on here. That's Zachary Lim in the Pepega Racing Team car. It's going to move out of the way. Good call there, so it allows Abisekera to get through. This that corner they just went through is also highlighted to me as one of the places where drivers tend to lose time or maybe even gain time just based on how they take this particular section. So let's see if Duran has got it all together, going very aggressive on the curbs now as he enters the final turn. Is he going to be able to improve his time and stretch out that lead? Because as of right now, he is only a 10th of a second. Wei Shen Wong has just set a second best time. Abisekera comes across the line.
He's not improved it.
Oh,
Win 152.4. Sorry,
Yep.
4/10 quicker.
4/10. And that, yep.
Wei Shen Wong's gone into the pits as well with a 152.9. So let's have a look at Kai Ume. Are we still on board with Durand? 142 left. So he's got time out on the circuit. Yes, this is Kiyame. He was in P2. I tell you what, Fauzi has gone inside 300s quicker than Abisekera. So Yash Kayami for Malaysia in P4 at the moment.
Yep, I think we just saw Fauzi just set the fastest time now. He's actually beaten Abisekera by 20 milliseconds. Oh, sorry, 30 milliseconds, give or take. That's less than a 10th of a second there. That's the margin right now between our two fastest drivers out on track.
On board, we're coming up to the, as you say, the furthest point. It is a little blip blind around that right-hand corner. Oh, gosh.
It's a tricky one. I mean, it's a blind exit for the most part, so knowing where exactly your braking point and your when you exactly can step on the gas is really tricky around that corner particularly. So I think drivers are going to stand to gain or lose time based on how they approach that corner specifically. Now, SM Fauzi, I think SM is his clan tag. He races for, I believe, Handshake Racing Malaysia, that used to be called Santai Malaysia, hence the initials S&M.
Okay, all right. SM Fauzi. Did the SRT is the official one that we've got for him here on there, because he picked up 6 points in race number 1 at Fuji, but he didn't really show that form. He wasn't quick in qualifying or race number 2 in Fuji, but fastest out on the circuit now. And I tell you what, he is leading the way, 300s quicker than Abisekera. Go has gone in there as well. Randy Go is in P3, 152.6. Wei Shen Wong drops down to 4th place, 152.9. Tell you what, there's a lot inside 153. This could be very competitive.
Oh, indeed. I mean, we've also got Randy Go, by the way, who also qualified 3rd highest here. And he's ensured that he's probably going to be up very high up in the grid. Now, Wei Shen Wong's time is now only good enough for 5th place here. So at one point he was up in 2nd in provisional positions, but now he's been dropped all the way down behind Kayum, who's already set a time good enough for 4th place provisionally right now. Checkered flag already out for him. Fauzi doesn't look like he's going to be continuing his run here. Durant Abisekera is still out on track though. Could have a potential right now to try and improve his time, but he's got 4/10s, just under 4/10s to make up there in order to match Fauzi's time.
Yeah, Fauzi actually increased his best time there. Got a 152 dead. Randy Go 152.6. Who is out on the circuit? There's 1 or 2 out there. Car number 11 goes through. The 11. So we're on board with Abisekera, the championship leader.
Yep, still coming around the back straight now. It's already entering the final sector here. Randy Go has also called it quits, so it seems like he's going to be content starting on the 2nd row. Now the question really is whether or not Abisekera will be able to dethrone Fauzi, who, by the way, like actually during practice, I did see him top the charts during the practice session. Now normally I don't count those kind of times because it's not part of official qualifying, but it seems like he has practiced quite a bit on this track here, given that he's not only been consistently on top when it came to practice, but is now fighting for Abisekera for that pole position.
One man who was a little bit off the form, 2nd place, Andre Amit. He's in P13 at the moment, Andre. Let's have a look at Durand Abisekera. Can he get into 152.0? The answer is
not quite.
No, he's improved, but only by a couple of hundredths there. So Durand Abisekera, he'll be on pole or on the front row of the grid Dominic Cheng comes through. Randy Go in P3. Kayomi in P4. Wei-Shen Wong in P5. They're the 5-point scorers on the for qualification for what will be a straight 30-minute race.
Exactly. So now that qualifying is officially over, this is where all the drivers stand for now. So Fauzi, SM Fauzi, I should say, currently in the front row together with Abe Sakara, Randy Go, and Yash Kayum now in the second row right behind them. Wei-Shen Wong might be one to watch out for. In past seasons, he's been quite the competitor during actual races as compared to qualifying. So certainly one who's going to be looking to take a lot of advantage coming into that first turn here at Sokol circuit. We got Melvin Malik from Malaysia also driving in, and he's going to be joining alongside Wei-Shen Wong. Aditya Nugroho, our first Indonesian, up on the top 10 here, currently best enough for 7th place. He starts alongside Adrian Amit from Malaysia. And
who improved this time, actually. He wasn't good enough to get in the top 5, but he improved this time. He's second in the championship.
Exactly. And we got just behind him Jordan McNeil as well as Bradley Liu from Hong Kong. So those are the top 10 right now. And remember, this is a Format B race. So what that means is that compared to round number 1, this time around we're running a full 30-minute long race. The point system is different as well. We're giving points for the top 5 in qualifying, but the first place in the race will get a total of 40 points. That's not including any fastest lap or penalties and whatnot. So there's a lot at stake here. And given that this is a longer form race, this is where the drivers have to show us what their skill is with regards to managing their race cars during this longer form races.
Okay, we're down to 50 seconds before the start. Yeah, 40 points, as you say, for P1. 4 points for the fastest lap. So maybe try and wind it up. And there is the green card of Abasakera. We'll keep an eye on him. What are we calling that? We're calling that turquoise, teal, turquoise for Fauzi. We're working on that. It's the turquoise colors of Kazakhstan. We've been debating that.
Yeah, we were debating that literally just before the stream started. So I'm not exactly sure. I was calling it like a teal turquoise, but my color theory is way off for sure. But this is definitely looking like a much lighter shade of turquoise, if that's the case.
Tell us your thoughts. So Randy Go in P3. He could be a useful wild card. You mentioned Wei-Shen Wong. He's in the other teal turquoise car towards the end, as we are 6 seconds 5 for. We are waiting for the red lights to go off.
And we're gone now for our first race here for the Copper class. Round number 2 at Sokol circuit. It looks like Fauzi is able to get himself up in front of Abe Sakara right from the get-go. It's already pulled quite a significant gap now. Abe Sakara now under pressure here from Randy Go as he attempts to go around the outside. A few cars have gone off here. I think Malik has just spun a little bit, gotten a bit of collisions right around the midsection. But Kayum and Randy Go are now still fighting for that 3rd position as they come up to this next section. It's going to be slowing down now to a hairpin. The Fauzi is having a very comfortable lead now ahead of Abe Sakara, while Randy Go seems to have kept Kayum at bay for now. So should be able to tuck in very nicely behind our 2 front runners.
Yeah, it's a lovely smooth start for SM Fauzi coming through. He's taken Abe Sakara with him. These two are looking at very nicely as they come up towards the top end of the circuit, down over the brow of that hill, and then they can accelerate down. Bit of a move there from Randy Go, just trying to see if there's a little bit of daylight around outside Abe Sakara. There's 516 Randy Go. Behind him, Kay, and behind them, Amit has made a very good start. P8 he was. He's battling here now for P6. In fact, he's got into P5 as Andre Amit. That's a really good move there from Amit. He and Bradley Liu going neck and neck together. Bradley Liu has just forced him back out again.
Yeah, they're literally going to be side by side round. It's going to be a drag race coming in. You can see just behind him, Bradley Liu now getting a slipstream off of Adrian Amit. He's going to be moving onto the inside now. A bit of a light touch on the brakes though. This is a very wide corner here, but it seems like it's made the move now. Adrian Amit now is attempting to try to fight back. He's going to be getting switched back in just right. Should be able to stay just ahead of him, and he does get him on the exit just in the nick of time.
That's beautifully done. But then, as he left the braking a little bit late, no, he's got that one right. He's in control there, Andre Amit. I like that work. I tell you what, he improved on the last lap of qualification. He looked to be very smooth, but he is under pressure here from Liu, and Liu is having a look on the inside, and Liu is trying to force Amit out wide, and there's going to be a little bit of contact there as they come through at the end of the first lap of a 30-minute race. It's Fauzi leading from Abasakera, Liu, Kayum, Bradley Liu has got ahead of Amit into P6.
And watch out for Randy Go now. He's actually caught Abisakera in the first turn now, moving up into second place. Can he keep that position though? Abisakera now trying to fight back as much as he can, but it seems like he's losing a bit of time in the exit. Tries to dive into the inside of Randy that time around, but Randy closes the door on him. Stays in P2. Fauzi now is absolutely loving this because all this infighting going on the podium is actually giving him quite the lead. 1.7 seconds now to Randy Go.
Absolutely. He's been able to pull away because Randy Go's spending more time looking in his mirror, I feel, than anything else. Behind them, Bradley Liu has got ahead of Amit. That's been a battle really worth looking at. McNeil is chasing them as well. Nugroho's not too far away, the first of the Indonesians. There's Bradley Liu. A little move once again by Amit. Leaves the braking late, tries to go on the inside, forces Liu on the outside, and Liu, a little bit of contact there, which is actually beneficial for Bradley Liu.
Yeah, but getting a little bit out of shape coming into the exit of the next corner though, and I think Adrian is actually suffering a lot more from that because Jordan McNeil is now all over him here. Is he going to be able to make the pass coming around here, because it seems like he's got a lot of momentum and there's still a lot of straight left here for both of these drivers. Now Jordan McNeil has the inside. It's all going to be about that breaking point. Jordan outbreaks him, cuts right in front. He moves up to 6th place, but Adrian fights back, stays alongside. It's still quite over here.
Yeah, Adrian is chasing alongside to Jordan McNeil. This time it's Adrian who has the inside line. He takes the lead back, but then that will leave another right-hander for Adrian. I've liked his work, but he's dropped down a little bit in the meantime. While Adrian is in this battle with Jordan McNeil, when they're racing, it allows the others get away. They've allowed a 1.5 second lead for Bradley Liu.
And that's, in a nutshell, the difficulty of spec racing, isn't it? Because everyone being on the same platform, the same powertrain, literally battling like that just loses you time. So if anything, you want to be able to dispatch your opponents as quickly as possible so they can focus on trying to rebuild your pace, rebuild your momentum. But so right now, Adrian not quite able to pull himself out of the clutches of Jordan McNeil here, but at least he's still in front. So for the next 25 minutes, that's where he's pretty much going to have to stay, though.
I'm afraid we've had a couple disconnected from the server, including Ronaldo out of Indonesia. And a problem for Xavier.
Yeah, Joshua Mulyono actually got spun out there, drops 3 places now, down to 16th place. I think it was either it was a Shakor or was it Rainidu Karuratne. I think they both came together just now as I was switching onto them. So I think Mulyono now having to try to recover that pace. In the meantime, I think a bit of tangling is going on here for 10th place here. Ezra Collin under pressure from Aiden Lee, who's also under pressure here from Ismail Ishak. Ooh, this is looking like a very juicy 3-way battle.
I'm loving this. I love the contact. Long may this continue in the bronze categories. Oh, in the copper category and in the bronze as well. Ismail Halil moves a little bit closer, 4/10 down. Back in this battle for Jordan McNeil. Amit has just got a little bit of leeway, but again, Amit is very aware that McNeil is right on his tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unchanged. Amit and McNeil in the battle for P6. Aiden Yi under pressure. Ishak tries once again just to close in on 77.
I believe Ezra Collin, TGS Pantera, I think that's both teammates there. So literally they are pace to pace equal with each other here. And given that the top 10 here is where you want to be as far as points is concerned, that's going to be a good position, I think, for the Pantera team, which, by the way, Randy Go is the one who is currently trying to chase after Fauzi. Oh, looks like it's a bit of a 3-way now starting to form out here as Kayum is already caught up to where Abisakera is. Now is literally a race now for the 2 positions on the podium here with Randy Go heavily under pressure.
Certainly is, and that allows Fauzi to break even further forward. Randy Go tries to hold off Abasakera. Kayume is there as a spin from Ranadu.
Yeah, I don't know if he actually had gotten into contact here, but speaking of contact, I think Colin and Aiden actually got into a bit of contact. Aiden's already in front of Ezra Collin, just off a camera there. So he's already moved up a place. Yeah, I think that's Ishak.
Yep. Colin Span, he's out the way.
And I think Joshua Mulyono now moved up to 11th place, so he's already trying to make some gains here, especially after Karuna Ratne has already moved out of the way down into 14th place. Karun is trying now to move up as well, but he's way outside of where Yen Han Sim is at the moment, 3 whole seconds behind, I think.
Points available down to P15, as always, but there's just more points available. 40 points is very nice for Fauzi. It'll really put him back in towards the reckoning. What did he score? He scored, Fauzi, 6 points? Yeah, 6 points only in round 1. So a win here will move him on to 46, plus he was fast in qualification as well. So maximum 49 points available for Faisen. Weishen Wong, right. Weishen is one who I know you put your money on beforehand. I'm glad I didn't follow your lead.
That's why I don't gamble, because I know I absolutely will get wrecked here. And unfortunately,
talking about wrecking.
Big hit there onto the back of Karuna Ratne. I mean, that's just adding salt to the wound right now for him. Has already spun out early on, and now Weishen just bumped him off back down to 16th place, while Weishen continues to run scot-free. He's already looks like Mulyono is under pressure here though from Yen Han Sim. Yen Han already having him around the outside. Can he cut it off by the entry? Yes, he does. Moves up now into 11th place. Mulyono is trying to stick as close to the inside as possible, trying to get at speed, but looking a little bit out of shape coming through the chicanes though. Don't think he'll be able to catch up in on time.
Looking very out of shape there and immediately under pressure, Mulyono. Weishen Wong is trying to advance. There's Joshua Ivan Mulyono. He's got Weishen Wong just behind him. That's an interesting line.
I mean, very wide line there actually for Mulyono, but to his credit, still managed to regain a lot of speed coming out the exit though, so it should be still secure in that 12th place for now. Weishen Wong not able to put enough pressure there in that particular battle alone. Ezra Collins still behind Aiden Yi right now. Both of them have swapped positions here, with Aiden now being the lead car. They're still almost 5 seconds away from Aditya Nugroho, so still quite a bit of time to make up. Perhaps a bit of slipstreaming between the two of them could help catch them up.
We're approaching 1/3 of the way through the race. Fauzi 4.2 seconds clear at the front. A lot of activity going on. The front 7, they look like they're settling in, even though there's a battle going on between Andy Go.
Nice.
Well, I was saying they were settled in. Randy Go's made a mistake. Abasakera's gone right around the outside, and Go gets a little tap as well. Keum goes past Go, and also Andre Amick goes past Randy Go. That is a catastrophic couple of corners for Randy Go from Malaysia.
Oh man, he was holding on to that second position for so long, but now he's going to have to fight with Adre Ahmed, who has moved up now into a 4th and 5th place, but he's already retaken a position coming in the main straight. But Adre goes for the dive on the inside of turn number 1. Randy left out on the lurch here, not able to stay alongside him. Adre moves up to 4th again, closes the door. Can he hang on to it though? Randy goes, got Jordan McNeil behind him here. Perhaps a little bit of a moral boost there that he's able to provide right now, because Randy certainly must be left fuming after losing so much, and now contact between him and Adre has pushed them both off the track.
Well, and that allows Jordan McNeil to come through. Randy Go is there, and yeah, that is Amit, who's been thrown off the track. So 69 Jordan McNeil and Randy Go, like a comfort blanket, they move happily into P4 and P5.
And Weishen Wong now up against Joshua. Both of them have been fighting for quite a bit, still within the points, but really they want to try to get higher up, especially with Weishen, who by the way had qualified in 5th position. Now it's literally trying to recover as much of the damage that he has sustained from the early on this race here. But he's got a lot of company right now coming into this chicanes.
Ishak had the inside line. Weishen Wong, he's gone for the straight line contact. He hit the man in front. He's tapped from behind. Weishen Wong will drop down to P15 because Aranzano and Karunaratne goes past. Karunaratne will think that is karma.
Well, given what happened between the two of them, I wouldn't blame him for enjoying a little bit of that for sure, seeing Weishen Wong in his rearview mirror right now. But he's got other things on mind here. Crystal Axel Aranzanso from the Philippines is the car ahead of him now. Karuna Ratne's car has sustained a bit of damage. You can see it in the front bumper of his car. But he's still going to try to go for the dive anyway. Tries around the inside. Doesn't seem to have outbraked him enough, though. So still has to tuck in behind Aranzanso's car. Still trying to bide his time right now, but he also still has Wei Shen Wong just waiting in the wings here. So he knows that if if he does make a mistake here, Wei Shen Wong will be able to reclaim his place here from
And we know Wei Shen will not think twice about trying to reclaim that. I'm enjoying this bronze medal category. There's been a lot going on. Here is Wei Shen Wong. We're focusing now. He's out of the points at the moment in P16. Ranedu Karunaratne is the man who's in the points for the final point scorer. But we've still got more than half the race to go. As Ranedu, he's right on the back there of Aranzanso. So very competitive in the middle of the group.
Very competitive indeed. I mean, right now, on average, I'm seeing lap times of like 154s here. I mean, our race leader has been able to set a 153 and Duran Abisekera 152. So the front runners are certainly really running away with it. But unless you're up in that 154 mark, it's going to be quite hard for you to make it through the pack, as it were, here. Because right now, with the way that Karunaratne, Wei Shen Wong, Aranzanso, Ishak, and Jordan Mulyono has been fighting here, they're certainly not going to be giving way to anyone, even if they're faster than them.
In the copper, the guy's done, a little spin through there. Chris Axel is given a little couple of bumps. There goes Wei Shen. Waiting for the time was Wei Shen, and goes past not one but two places and moves himself up to P14 from P16.
One man's misfortune, another man's luck, I suppose, here. And Wei Shen is definitely wanting to have as much luck as he can now, being able to stay ahead. Look at that. Ishak also moving on to the inside there of Mulyono. Oh, and Mulyono gets bumped out.
Hits the dirt. Has to fight his way out to the dirt. Losers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. That's bad news for Mulyono. What drops down to P17.
Yeah, that's right in the clutches of actually he's trying to catch up here to Sadewa, who's right now able to get past Aranzanso, who went a little bit too squirrely through that corner there, now having to recover back his pace here. But Wei Shen certainly has benefited a lot from that scrap here. Ishak is certainly so far away now from this pack here, so now he can certainly focus more on the remaining 15 minutes of this race. We're now at a halfway mark here, Des, so still quite a ways to go, but I think for some of these drivers, it's certainly feeling a lot longer, that, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't have to worry about tyres, to be fair, so they can just focus on the driving. Dominic Chen down in P18 at the moment. He's trying to get on the back of Mulyono, who's had an interesting time. As we go a little bit further down the field, just to give a name check, there's Mulyono. He's had he's had his own highlight reel, has Mulyono.
Yeah, certainly been at the unfortunate receiving end of some of the action here so far in the Copper class, which, you know, I mean, given what I saw from round number 1, this is actually quite a lot more tamer. The first round that we had in Fuji was a lot more chaotic, with plenty of incidents going all the way through. But that was in the Format A, style of racing. This time being in the Format B, I think mistakes like that, especially like in the case of Jordan, in case of Karunaratne, you can see how much it actually drops them all the way down. And even though they still have time technically to try to catch up, but still, it's a lot of progress is just lost like that.
Good straight line speed from Mulyono there. He's just getting on the inside of Sadewa, and he will have the line coming into this right-hander. And Sadewa will try to outpace him around the outside. Dominic Chen is just behind them. That's good from Mulyono. He's been bashed around a little bit, but I tell you what, he has shown good style. Leaves the braking late. And he might be getting close to the back there of Aranzanso, who is being inconsistent, let's say. And Aranzanso shows that inconsistency. But to be fair, Mulyono also flies off the handle.
It seems like, I think he actually had to slow down because of maybe some cut track penalties there. So, well, that's just going to, he has to slow basically all the way down until the timer either runs out, or he has to slow down to 35 kilometers per hour, which essentially just kills any chance of you catching up back to the pack here, as it were. Donny Sadewa and Jordan Mulyono still continuing their battle going to turn 1 and 2.
Okay, we're focusing on the midpoint, on the middle of the race, because the front 5 There's a bit of distance between them. There's not a vast amount of competition going on.
Yeah.
Fauzi and Abasakera are happy in their P1 and P2. Abasakera, the championship leader at the moment, 34 points from him in round 1. Kayome is looking to develop some points. I think these would be his first points of the season.
Yeah.
He's in P3 at the moment, and there's a lot of points available. Randy Go in P4. He picked up 23 for TGS Pantera in week 1, and there is his comfort blanket, Jordan McNeil in P5.
Yep, and still a lot more action going on in the bottom of the field, as it were. Still outside of the points, though, but a three-way battle now forming behind Dominic Chen. You got Donny Sedewa as well as Hasrul Tayyip now driving the 8-6 car. Emma will probably tell you a lot more about this, but this is actually a reference with a car racing anime over in Japan there called MF Ghost. So that's a really cool little reference, and a lot of anime fans, though, in our lineup here, so certainly they will be appreciating that a lot.
Well, the Ghost is making himself seen and heard at the moment. Oh, is that a problem?
Yeah, Abasakera forced to slow down on the main straight. That's dropped him down to 6th position here, so that allows Randy Go and Jordan McNeil as well as Aditya Nugroho to move up a place each.
That really makes the championship interesting. Well, Abasakere must have had a track limit. Sadewa has gone past Dominic Chen. Oh, no, he hasn't. He wasn't in front of Dominic Chen. Behind them, you've got Tayyip, as you said, Hasrul Tayyip, trying hard to get on the back of Dominic. Sadewa is there. Tell you who is pulling away. Mulyono. I've enjoyed Mulyono, seeing what he's doing. Dominic Chen is there. Mulyono looks ahead.
Yeah, he's very much in the island of his own right now. Still about 9 seconds away from Karuna Ratne, so a lot of gap to try to make up for in the next 11 minutes if he wants to try to continue fighting for some additional points. He's already on 15th place. Still will be able to get some consolation points for sure, but knowing him, he will definitely want a lot more than just that, especially after what he's gone through here.
Indeed. You want double digits on these single race events. You want double digits. You want the 40s or the 30s, and that's going to take a lot, particularly if you lose it a little bit like Hasrul just lost it then as they go up the hill.
Yeah, I think that's all but put this battle on the cooler right now, so Donny Sedewa should be able to breathe a little easier at this phase of the race. We have 11 minutes still remaining right now. We're on board here with Ezra Collin. He's been following behind Aiden Yee for the longest time now, ever since Aiden had passed him around about the 20-minute mark here. But for the two drivers here from Pantera, it looks like Pantera is going to be getting a lot of points here from this race alone. So this is certainly something exciting for the team here, as long as they're able to finish in the positions they are at the moment.
Quite right. Top 15 score points. Ezra was unable to pick up any points in round 1. Aiden Yee picked up 4 for TGS Pantera. Jordan McNeil is their main man. He's having a final time in P4, Jordan McNeil.
Yeah, and also don't forget Randy Go as well, up in 3rd place here, right on the podium here, just behind Qayyum. And unfortunately, because of Abasakera having to slow down, that's actually delivered him a potential for a big haul of points here on this copper race.
Let's see how Abasakera is getting on after his mishap at the end of the previous lap as we come down to the final third of the race. Durand Abasakera in the green. He's not getting any closer on the back there of Nugroho. Nugroho, the beneficiary there of a real mistake there for Abasakera. Must have been track limits that forced him to slow down, and he went from P2 to P6.
Yeah, his deltas as well not looking particularly good, but that's to be expected at this phase of the race, where after 20 minutes of running, certainly a lot of the tire performance has already been used up. Cars, granted, may be a little bit lighter due to fuel usage, but still, at this stage of the race, to try to get the gains needed here, it's going to be quite hard for Abasakera to get back on the podium unless something does happen to the literally other 5 drivers in front of him now.
153.9's his lap time, so they're respectable.
Yeah.
But he needs to get them into the low 153s to get firstly on the back of Nugroho, and then to maybe just try and close in on Jordan McNeil. But I'm looking at Durand Abasakera because he's the championship leader, but he's not really making any headway.
No, not at all. And I think at this point, it's going to be more about damage limitation. I mean, even coming into this Sokol circuit here, I think the biggest concern for most of the drivers was track limits, because just like in a track like Mandalika, for example, usually what kills the race is more of getting the track limit penalties here rather than the actual racing. And I think this unfortunately has befallen Abisekera, has befallen Ishak, as we saw earlier on as well. So it's something that the drivers have to kind of play that balance here, right? Like how much of the limits do you really want to push? Do you want to really risk actually having to slow down, just like Abisekera here, losing a potential podium position for him and likely the opportunity to defend his lead in the championship.
Two of the racers we were looking at before, Sadewa and Aranzanto, they are out. They've, I think they've lost the connection.
Oh, well, that's really unfortunate.
Back to your mate, Wei Shen Wong. Okay, he's been as low as 16. He's been as high as 5. At the moment, he's in 12, which is probably just below his mean average.
Yeah, just below, but I think it's good enough to actually catch up now to Yen Han Sim. So hopefully in this next 8 minutes, you can see with Yen taking such a wide line there, he's certainly feeling the pressure a little bit here, coming from Wei Shen Wong behind. Another battle is folding here, another challenger to Mulyono's position here. Dominic Chen has caught up to him now. I think Mulyono has actually lost quite a lot of time. He's already 12 seconds, 13 seconds behind Ishak. So if anything, Mulyono is actually losing quite a lot of pace in this late phase of the race.
Dominic Chen lapping in the 154, the mid 154s. So who's putting pressure on again as they go up to the top of this hill? It's not, there aren't that many hills to work about. There's not that much incline to work on, but it is an awkward one as they come around this right-hander at the very top.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened to Mulyono, but looking at his last lap time, 157, I think he might have been forced to slow down due to track limit penalties as well. So that's already delivered him into the arms of Dominic Chen now. A potential final fight here for the final bit of points that's going to be possible here for our top 15.
7 minutes to go. It's looking like a breeze for SM Fauzi as Wei Shen Wong gives us more highlights. He's been good fun. We've had him bottom right of the screen. He comes close onto the back there of Sim.
Yeah.
There is Wei Shen as he goes on the inside. Avoids the contact. Come on, boys. This is bronze. You're meant to have contact.
This is copper.
Copper, sorry.
Copper. Well, I mean, you mix copper with iron, you do get bronze, so not that far off, not that far to be fair. Oh, look at Karunaratne though, going for the dive on the inside while Wei Shen Wong thought he had dispatched Yen Han Sim nicely. He's looking like he's under pressure now. Rainidu is actually put in front of Wei Shen Wong now, moves up into 11th here. Fantastic moves here from the Sri Lankan driver.
Gosh, he's another with a highlight reel all of his own here. Ranadu Karunaratne. Well done there, but he's under pressure. Wei Shen Wong has a look on the inside. Dominic Chen a little bit further back. We've got 3 across the width of the circuit, all chasing Wei Shen Wong. Yan Han Sin is one of those 3.
Yeah.
Is it Wei Shen who's in the front of that little group? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Wei Shen Wong right now in front of Rainidu Karunaratne, and then you got Yen Han Sim right now getting under pressure here from not Ishak actually. It's actually a back marker, Melvin Malik, who's actually in the mix. So he's not actually fighting here, but he's still trying to unlap himself from this 3-way battle here.
Yeah, that's awkward. That's awkward.
Yeah,
they've got to behave. 153.2, I think we saw a time there.
Oh, look at this, though. I think Ezra Collin has lost a lot of time to Aiden Yee. He's already fallen behind Ashish Shakur, who is now taking this opportunity to put some pressure on Aiden Yee in the final 5 minutes of this race. So that's going to be a fight now for the 8th position here. Well, in the meantime, Wei Shen now, I think he's able to pull a little bit ahead of Rainidu Karunaratne, leaving him now to face the pressure of Melvin Malik, who just bumped him from behind. Luckily, neither driver gets spun out due to that contact, but again, very awkward here. Well, look at that, Malik just diving on the inside there. What is he doing?
That's not exactly kosher. That's not exactly what you're meant to be doing. If you're a lap down, you've got to behave an awful lot better than that, and that's one of the, I'm sure the stewards will have a word or two in the ear. Let's have a look at Asher Shaka.
Yep, still trying to catch up to Aiden Yee. I think Dominic Chan's already cutting alongside Mulyono. Mulyono looking like he might just lose the points here as he's bumped down to 16th place if he is unable to overcome Dominic Chan. He's still on the drag race right now, but I think Dominic has the inside line coming to this first turn, so he will have advantage. Joshua's going to have to take his chances on the exit. Brilliant exit, but he had to slow down. He had to avoid contact there, and that actually cost him the opportunity now to keep the pressure onto Dominic Chen.
And Tawi is right in close there as well. This is the battle for the final point. Up at the front, Fauzi is 11.2 seconds clear, which is why we're not really focused on him. We will as we get down to the final minute and a half or so, but we're inside the final 4 minutes. Mulyono chases Dominic Chen. Dominic Chen is the yellow and black at the front. Mulyono in the lighter car. Then right behind them, you've got good work coming in from Taib.
Yeah. And I think in the meantime, Jordan McNeil starting to put some moves on the Randy Go as well. While all of that is unfolding here, Ishak also caught up now to Yen Han Sim. Looks like he will have the slipstream here and is going to try to make the dive on the inside. Is he going to be able to make it? I think he is. That's nice and clean. Right exit, but well, a lot wide on the actual corner itself, so that's allowing Yen Han Sim to continue to try to pressure him. Still not able to overcome position though. Ishak still ahead. Mulyono still going alongside. He's alongside Dominic Chen here. Has the inside line. Brilliant. Will be able to move up now and get back his points paying position.
Yeah, beautiful line there from Joshua Mulyono. He has had some highlights. There's a big pressure coming in now from Dominic Chen. This is for the final point. Chen in car number 4 goes a little bit wide. It allows Mulyono just to pull a little bit clear. 2:42 left in this race. This is Fauzi all on his own. 11.6 seconds clear. Fastest in qualifying. Led from the very, very first corner. And we've ignored him a little bit, Victor, simply because he's been too good today.
Too good. I mean, 11 seconds now in the lead compared to Kaiyum. Now, to be fair, he was being chased by Abisekera, but after Abisekera had to take a track limit penalty, that's dropped him out of the podium here. So the nearest competitor now is Kaiyum. 12 seconds away. Not likely he's going to be able to catch up, barring any problems coming out from Fauzi's side. Still got Randy Go up on the 3rd position here with Jordan McNeil for company in the top on the top side of the leaderboard, and they got a bit of traffic to get through as some of these cars are getting lapped quite heavily now. I mean, that's the thing about a 30-minute race. I think one of those
I'm assuming it's one of the back markers. Yes.
Most likely.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, good. Let's just go back to Randy Go and Jordan McNeil. Are they going to be racing against each other? Because short seasons, it's just 4 rounds of the season. And McNeil is a little bit behind Randy Go in the championship standings. If he takes him, then he takes points off Randy Go.
Yeah, but the thing is that with Nugroho only being 2 seconds behind, and you also got Abisekera providing pressure there. He's actually caught up now within 4/10 of a second behind Nugroho's car, so perhaps he might be able to get some more damage limitation if he's able to successfully pull this off. But I think for the two of them, as far as their team is concerned, that's a lot of points already on hand here. Doesn't make sense for them to try to risk it here just for the sake of the drivers standing here, but you never know sometimes with the ego of some of these drivers.
This is Jordan McNeil. I'll let you talk about the ego. You're a driver, mate. Jordan McNeil in P4. Is he going to chase? He's clear of Nugroho in 5, but Abisekera has got time to make a move. What are we? Where are we on this lap? Will we complete this lap? We probably will.
Probably will. I think Fauzi... Oh, wait, he's actually still on the back straight, though. Half a minute to go before he gets there. It just might be cutting it close here for Fauzi to start off that final lap. With regards to like what I saw is now Dominic Chen. He's gone to the pits now. I saw him slow down a lot just now in that fight with Taib, but now he's completely looking like he's out of the race here effectively.
Final 10 seconds, and I think we're just going to have Fauzi just amble his way to the line. He's not going to risk anything. Fauzi comes round the final right and he'll go to a left and then he'll go onto the start-finish line. And this is an excellent result for SM Fauzi. 6 points in round 1, 5 points from qualification, add 40 points for this win as well. This is an excellent performance from Fauzi. A little bit of showmanship and showboating as he goes over the line. He will finish in P1. Kaiyum, well, what's happened to Kaiyum?
Yeah, well, he is still ahead of Randy and should be just enough now to stay ahead as he takes the checkered flag in 2nd place. We got Randy Go and Jordan McNeil following very closely behind. The 2 drivers from the Panthera team doing so well here. That's a lot of healthy points now for them in round number 2. Aditya Nugroho from Indonesia finishes in 5th place. Abisekera, what could have been for this driver here, who at one point was running in the podium, unfortunately has dropped down to 6th, and that is where he will stay. Adrian Amit, covering very, very well in the start of this race here, has now moved up into 7th place, and certainly will be proud of that achievement here. Aiden Yi now follows the finish line here together with Ashish Shakur, as well as Ezra Collin, rounding up the top 10 here. Wei Shin Wong now also already passed the line here, will be taking 11th place. Rainido Kararatne is finishing in 12th. Then we got Ishmael Ishak finishing in 13th place, Yan Han Sim in 14th, and last but not least, Mulyono does take the final set of points here in our Format B round number 2 race.
That is a lot of work for a single point.
Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of drama here for him for sure.
But good highlights reel. Impressive though from Fauzi. Got to say, the man who led the way, Fauzi, will pick up maximum points, 45 points already. I'm assuming he's close on the fastest lap as well. 49 points, the maximum, and that will put him right back in contention at the midway point of this season 17 at the copper class.
Yeah, and shout out here to SM Fauzi from Adam Harif in the YouTube chat. Adam, who is also competing in the gold class, just shouting out a fellow friend of his here, and SM Fauzi. So good work. And Miles Shinoda. Oh, okay. So that SM Fauzi's real name is Miles Shinoda. I know that guy. Also from the Santa Malaysia Club, hence the SM in its name.
Excellent. Okay, and glad we've worked that one out at last. Half an hour into the race. No problem. But Fauzi, nonetheless, takes that, and he looks in really good form.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, he was already dominating during the practice session earlier on, and then in qualifying as well. I think he certainly did his time like in the 2 weeks we had between round 1 and 2. So well done here to Fauzi.
Practice, really, it is all about practice. It's getting time on that track, because he was pretty faultless.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, well done here to our copper class drivers here. It's fairly less chaotic, definitely compared to round 1. But still some good action. Got a good highlight reel.
There was some great action. I tell you who I thought was a little bit naughty though. It was well, Andre Emmett had a chance, but Melvin Malik. When he was one of the back markers, he just went a little bit inside, and I'm not sure how the discipline is in the copper class.
Again, you know, it's like even you're the back marker, you do have to give way to the faster drivers, but you are also within your rights to unlap yourself. But I don't think that was a situation there for him.
It's a little bit too aggressive for my thinking.
But in any case, that is our copper class race here. Up next, we're going to be having our bronze class race that's going to be on the GT3 cars. Same track, same place here. So hopefully you guys will be able to keep joining us for that. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back here with more eRacing Grand Prix action.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
Hello, welcome back to our coverage of eRGP, eRacing GP Season 17. Still can't get over it. We're 5 years into eRGP, and the riders are getting, or the drivers are getting more and more aggressive, better, younger, and more of them. We've got full houses on all three of the categories. Amo Hazik alongside Des Sokol to talk us through the copper class. The bronze class. I still get my copper and bronze mixed up, for apologies. Your thoughts on the Kazakhstan track that we are looking around, though, Amo?
Yeah, sorry for a bad hair day because I was running on the way into the commentary box. But yeah, I mean, the track itself is actually pretty good. I'm saddened that the real world circuit did not see any races so far because of the fact that, as Victor alluded to earlier, it was hit by the Central Asian floods in 2023, so the circuit's debut has been held back for another couple of years. But apart from that, what we saw virtually with cars is meant to be a bike track, has been pretty good, so we're hoping to see more of the same.
I love that blind corner up the north end of the circuit.
Oh yeah, indeed. It's actually quite a tricky one because it tightens on the way in, and after that it opens up to a slightly long straight. It's almost like the entire length of the start-finish straight. And then we go into a very tight right-hander, which actually is tight on the radius of the exit. We can see the circuit map itself, just a smidge under 4.5 kilometers. And surprisingly, despite it being a left-handed first turn, it is a clockwise circuit, so it's literally just like the Velcom circuit that hosted the South African Grand Prix for MotoGP for about 3 years or so. It starts with a left-hander, but then it loops itself around back to a clockwise layout to the start-finish straight.
Those S's are rather generous, and then you go up to that turn 5, which is a sharp 90 degree, and then down a bit of a slope into a little chicane. As I think Victor was saying, there's many familiar elements from circuits all around the world, very much Tilke designs. 3 long straights. I always like straights in new circuits.
Indeed, because it provides an overtaking spot, especially when there's a tight corner that comes out, especially the chicane area. We saw a bit of that. And on to that back straight where we talked about it being longer than the start-finish straight. Apart from that, the familiar parts are, for example, the first few corners with the S's. That feels a bit like Circuit of the Americas, but except minus the elevation changes. And then the final corner is a bit like Kota as well at the last, where it just tightens on the exit, or in midpoint. But then it allows room for people to go side by side still. So really, it's a fun circuit, and glad that we managed to get a circuit with a big pit boxes to get everybody involved.
Okay, right. We've got a couple of minutes left, 140 left in qualification. I wonder if we can just go through some of the stats that we're going to have. The championship leaders. Here's the standings at the moment in the bronze class. And a new name for me, Elliot Sternagel, based in Malaysia, but from the United States. He's level on points with Ethan Lowe, who is a very familiar name to me, on 37 points. How did those two race last time out?
Well, they were definitely dominating the way, because if you notice the Malaysian flags, about at least half of them are affiliated with the Papega Racing Team squad, with Elliot Sternagel leading the way for that one. And we would see a bit more of an armada formation like they did last time, because they were protecting each other, though a couple of interlopers, shall we say, in between might cause a bit of span in the works. That man in 4th place, Arman Abdullah, I spoke to him a week after the race at Fuji. He said that he was working on his defense. Well, he was definitely stout, much to the chagrin of the Papega boys.
Okay, Jeremy Yo, I love the team name. Hey. I like that one. A little bit of humor. Kind of your kind of humor, Amo. Nobody else gets it.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, we have not landed just like the Concorde skis in Almaty back in the day. We'll go into a bit of lore in that one. But regardless, it is a very tight championship in bronze after round 1. And glad to say this might be a case of more of the same in round number 2 here, because longer race, they might be a bit more circumspect.
In terms of tyres, they have to worry about tyres in the bronze?
Yes, they do, because times 2 tyre wear, that means that they have to be a bit more conservative. They can't go full gung-ho as we now go into the live action, as we're on board with one of the drivers right now, Alfiko Askai. It's perfectly exemplifying why this circuit, as you can see, this is the blind corner at the top of the circuit in the north end, really tightens on entry, but then on the exit, there's enough leeway on the outside that you can go a bit wide. Maybe you have to watch out for the track limits, but apart from that, it actually is nothing like the Tilkedromes that have been designed in the intervening years between Sepang and all the way up to Circuit of the Americas, because there's been a few Mickey Mouse corners here and there, but for the most part, this has got some really nice flow, and I can't wait to see if MotoGP does come here eventually.
Yeah, it does seem to have a flow. That's what I like about it. There's no real stop and go starts. Okay, Aska was in 8th position for M92 Motorsport, picked up 12 points in round number 1. They'll just be getting some lap times in at the moment. Plenty of time, 10 minutes worth of qualification. It gives you a good long look at the track.
Indeed, and you can see some of the wide shots here. It looks like it's almost in the middle of nowhere, but we're not far away from the capital city of, well, not capital city of Kazakhstan, the big city, Almaty. As we said earlier, that's where the only destination for the Tupolev 144 was, from Moscow during the olden days of the USSR. But really, it's a motorsports complex that will blossom in the future. Not now, it's still a work in progress, but nonetheless, can't wait to see this coming out in real life. But for now, we have the virtual version, and so far at least, it's provided some really good racing, especially in the copper class.
Yeah, I've liked the look of this circuit already. There's Azka. Hopefully we'll get some Kazakh racers coming into the eRGP. Vernon Abler from Philippines. Where did Vernon do? Didn't do particularly well. Sternagel and Ethan Lowe are the ones I'm particularly keen to see out on the track at the moment. Where are they? They're not signed in, are they?
Well, Ethan Lowe, yes, he has. He's actually in P2 right now, but currently in the pits for the Pepega squad. There we go. That's the team logo on the front. It's Pepe the Frog with a amalgamation of itself and the iRacing logo. But nonetheless, that's the man on pace right now with Yongjan, incidentally, his teammate right in front of him in first place. It's not on the timing tower right now, but he has recorded a fast time of 43.5. So that's the gauntlet that he is laid now. And in fact, he's gone for a burnout in the pits. And, well, we're not going to show him any more of that, that's for sure. Because that's just ill-tempered. And there we go, Zarivado decides to do the same thing. So they're living up to the team name, and a bunch of Pepe hands being thrown right now.
Oh my word, okay.
Well,
is that a telling off that you've just given the boys?
Yes, it's a slight backhanded telling off, to say the least. But yeah, it's definitely one of the circuits that provides good racing. It was really disciplined in the copper class, but I think I'm going to jinx that I said it too soon. Hopefully the bronze class might just be just as well-mannered.
Well, on the Ethan Lowe did set it. Everybody's in the pit at the moment. Do we have technical problems, or are they waiting to get out? There's no qualifying clock running at the moment.
It's in practice right now, so we're waiting for the race itself to start, the qualifying session itself to start very soon. But for the most part, maybe because some drivers clocked their times a bit late, because you can see in the timing tower, a couple of drivers have left it not. But we'll wait and see what will happen after this. For the time being, though, it's the usual suspects up in front, sans Elliot Stuenagel, because unfortunately Stuenagel is not in this round, but maybe he'll take round 2 as a drop round.
Okay. Qualification is looming. Thought it was 9 o'clock we were starting.
Oh, yes. We might start about the same time when Ramadan comes around, so this is probably just a dry run. Excuse the pun, because Kazakhstan is in Central Asia, which is dry most of the time, apart from when the flood came in. It's a dry run for what we would do in the future.
That's the humor I was talking about.
So, yeah, it might be just a bit of problems with the server clocking over, but for the most part, I think every single driver who have registered for the race, because we got plenty, it was oversubscribed. There was 36 drivers that really filled the slots, and we are now finally going to qualifying, Des.
Okay, belatedly, we are in qualifying. In practice, Ethan Lowe sent... Oh, Stenegel's there. Stenegel is he
No,
No,
unfortunately.
you're not. Okay.
Okay, so we might be having a bit of slight issues with the server. We'll pick up some of the drivers that have come out onto the track. It is quite a few of them, and you can see there again, we're trying to find any drivers who are racing right now, but it looks as though we do have one of the main protagonists from the first round, Yongjan, taking to the track, and looks as though it's a traffic jam of epic proportions because every single one of them have gone out at the same time, despite it being a 10-minute session now.
I know we're only second round of the championship, but who are you really looking at? You're looking at Yongjan, you're looking at Ethan Lowe as the ones maybe to run right the way through, or you're thinking somebody like an Adam Hakim or Eric Satria might be able to come through?
I would have to say I'm looking out for one particular driver that is actually quite a familiar name for both of us. It's Arman Abdullah, because he's also a good mate of our broadcast producer, Zaili, and well, bang on cue. Just as I was viewing him, he jumped straight back into the pits because of having a collision there. But he was very good in his defense in the first race, maybe a bit in the gray area, but for the most part, he's improved on it, and I can't wait to see what he can do, especially against an armada of Papega cars that were leading the way in that first round in Fuji.
Okay, car number 18, Ethan Lowe is out. There is an out time. The 10 minutes is rather generous, actually. It gives you a chance to make a mistake, or two, or even three before you put your lap time in.
Yep. Less of a jeopardy, but more of the fact that we want drivers to set a more represented time, because sometimes we have guys that we sort of earmark to be the ones doing the business. They just couldn't put it together because they're not like one-shot guys that can just do it in the first lap. They have to do it like this. For example, Ethan wasn't happy with traffic. He wants to go back and he has to get out soon because Yongjan's going to come around the final corner now and start his first lap of the entire round. So he'll be hoping that he doesn't see his teammate in the worst way possible.
You're getting soft in your old age, Amal. Okay, as they come through, Yongjan, he is first out, so he's done his out lap. I think he's on for a proper time. Third gear, fourth gear, revving up nice and high. Talk us around the circuit.
Yeah, we were coming through the S's now. This is definitely the trickiest part of the entire thing because you can almost imagine MotoGP bikes, the riders can lean a bit more into the curves. The cars, it starts to wash out a bit because adhesion is not there anymore. And then suddenly, comes right at you as a tight hairpin, so you're going to have to take a line that's equivalent to the Termas de Rio Honda circuit in Argentina, where you need to take a wide line and then cut across. Here you can see it's a double apex that leads all the way to start finish line. Case in point that someone spins because they got the double apex wrong. A short shoot, and then now we come up to that north point of the circuit where you talked about it being a blind corner. It actually is quite deceiving because look at that, it tightens up with a chicane. You need to run through the apex, there you go. Some people can actually just run through the tarmac runoff and then set yourself up for the longer straight here, Des.
Yeah, the long straight is good. Ethan looking good. He's hit nice lines, to be fair. We're on board with Yongjan now as well. Rubio has set the fastest time, which will easily be beaten. A 157.2. What are we looking at? Low 153s?
I think 53 mids because of what 52s actually, in fact. 54.2 is the 42, sorry. So that we're going to GT3 lap times, GT4 lap times.
Okay,
now we're in
yeah,
GT3s.
of course, yes.
So 42s may be the one that we're looking out for, but Yongjan was in the 43 mids. We'll see what he can do here in this final sector, which looks a bit clumsy because it does become tighter. As you can see now, up to that final corner where anything can make or break for a driver if they get it wrong. Looks as though Yongjan has kept it quite tight. We will see the first proper time here being set. Let's see what Yongjan has in the bag.
Well, the answer is
A 44.1.
44.1. So back row 43.9. 44.1 for Yongjan. Woon with a 144.5. So we're getting into the low 143s. Car number 35, tell you, is Fari Alamsha. That's a change for us. 15 drivers have actually put in a lap time at the moment. But only really 10 on a proper fast lap.
So far, at least, yeah, as a representative time, because if you can see some of those in the 44s and 45s, that's the real lap times they've set. 59, 2 minutes, yeah, that's an out lap, so that's nothing representative. But at least for the time being, though, the 43s that we talked about earlier are possible. As Jeremy Yao then proves that it is possible. He did a 43.5, and he's up ahead of the Papega squadron by about 2/10.
There is Jeremy Yao, the hey team. I like that. 16 points he picked up in round one. He'll be looking to add to that. Big points available. It's just a single 30-minute race, so you pick up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for qualification, but 40 points available for the winner. It really does make it worthwhile. It can blow the championship apart.
Indeed, and that's where the spanner in the works comes in, because would you like to prioritize a longer race or you want the easier sprint races to come by? So for Jeremy, that actually means he will take the 5 points here and up to the front, and he will have shall we say, strike first blood in this one. He does have the impetus now to control the pace for the next 30 minutes. Though we haven't seen the best of the drivers yet to come through and see what they can do. As Jeremy goes a bit wide, that might be his lap invalidated.
Okay, so Jeremy Go, it's still setting the fastest time, 1:43.563. Ethan Lowe, 1:42.7. So your prediction of the 142s is right. Will we get into the mid 142s? That's the question. That looks to be very competitive from Ethan.
Indeed it is. In fact, he's about 6/10 faster than Yongjan, who's actually incidentally come up to second place, and he's following his teammate through. So despite them being in different colored cars, you can see the similarities between the designs. This is a union between two of the best performing teams from last season, Red Pact Asia and Papega Racing Team. So they've joined forces here, and you can see why they're up in front. They really rule the roost in this class this season.
Ethan Lowe leads the way. We are on board with Jun Low. Yong Jian.
Yep, Yongjan is the guy who set the fastest time in practice, but it looks as though qualifying, he's keeping his powder dry for now because he knows full well that there's plenty of laps to do, but he just has to keep it pointing in the right direction and not stuff it up when it counts.
Who else is making a move? Nobody really. Rubio was dropped right the way down. 144.6s. You got most of the drivers inside 144. 144.9 for Shamin in P17. That's not the worst. Armand Abdullah, you were talking about Armand. P7 at 143.883. On board with him.
Yep, and this was the one that we was talking about earlier, that his defense was very good. And to say that it was amid the gray area, yeah, that would be a bit of an understatement because it was quite a hard way of defending. But for the most part, it will be considered fair because he kept his position well and didn't do any histrionics when he was going under the brakes. But nonetheless, for now, at least P7 in qualifying probably is not where he wants to be, because look at that top 10 though. He is within that region that is, if it's a change of just a couple of tenths, he'll be up in the top 4.
But you would like to pick up some points in qualification. You'd certainly like to be in the top 5. You'd like to be in the top 1 or 2. But at the moment, it's Yongjian and Ethan Lowe, 2 and 3 in the championship standings. That means in these short championships, just 4 rounds, you can't really afford to have too many off days.
No siree, and especially when there are more points on offer in a single race, your entire championship can be turned right away around if you actually win this one, because 45 points just on a canter. You really don't want to miss this opportunity.
Love that corner, by the way. Love that corner.
Oh, it's a double apex again. It's blind, but then it just sets you up onto this back straight that really does come crazily quick at you, because on the second longest straight, because the chicane, and then you have to set yourself up for that back straight.
Yeah, can make or break your lap over there. Nice design, gotta be said. I think he knows something about circuits, Mr. Tilke.
Well, to the F1 guys, we would say that he has been a hit or miss. If you want to call Bonza strikes, he has had maybe around 4 strikes and a couple of balls taken. So you can say that he has done some greatest hits among some really terrible duds.
Nothing controversial from you, Amahazik, is there? Nothing controversial. Yongjian, he's 6/10 down on Ethan Lowe. That really is a quick time from Ethan. I'm not sure anybody's going to get inside of that. Fackrell, 143.4 is 7/10 down. Yo is nearly 8/10 down. In fact, only the top 6 are within a second of Ethan Lowe. That is seriously quick from the kid.
And let's see what Ethan can do as he comes across the line this time by. He ran the final corner quite wide there. Will this scupper his lap? Yes, it has actually, so no improvement there. Yongjan was in the pits earlier. Malik Fakhrul, on the other hand, he is actually stuck behind a back marker, so he would not be able to set a lap time here. As you can see, somehow he turned on his hazard, so he's probably trying to say thank you in Japanese, but unfortunately, he's probably not able to do so, because right now, he's winding up to start another lap. That is not the best way to prepare for it.
Okay, we're on board with Malik Fakhrul, currently in P3. But Ethan Lowe, gosh, I remember, well, he still is a kid, but I remember when he was a little kid. And he first came on board, but he's now maturing into a very, very decent racer. And whether or not he can transfer that into real racing when he grows a little bit, that will be the real challenge.
I think he will be as well. We have someone actually going off the track big time. Is Adam Hakim. He actually had a connection issue, so he actually was flying at us at 88 miles per hour back to the future. But looks as though he cleared out of the way in time just before Ethan Lowe heads to the most important straight of the entire circuit, that back straight. If you lost time in that chicane section, it will snowball big time once you hit that final sector.
Abdullah is in a little bit of traffic as well. He's struggling. He's still out on the circle. Ethan decides to pull out, but he's still got a 1:42.7. That's still leading the way. Here is Armand Abdullah. No, okay, Yongjian.
Arman actually stopped at the side of the track there, so there'll be no improvement for him. We're waiting to see what Yongjian can do, if he could do anything here, Des.
Where are we? Split times. Where are we on the circuit? Number 5, is it? Okay, right. Coming into this
Final corner.
final corner.
And onto the start finish straight. Let's see what he can do here. It looks as though he was a bit scruffy in that final sector. And tell you what, that actually does impact his lap time just a bit. But he manages to improve to 43 flat. Still second place though. So Ethan Lowe gets a pole position after qualifying third in round number 1. So he'll be chuffed with that one. He gets to control the pace up in front. Let's see what the others can do. I saw just now a car coming across the line. Jeremy L goes up to third. So Jeremy, he improves his time to a 43.2. Not bad from the driver with a joke team name, but his performance out on the track is definitely no joke.
Excellent work from Jeremy O to come into the second row of the grid alongside Fakrul. Third row of the grid will be Shazli and Anafi. Is anyone out there who can really challenge? I don't think there is. Coming through there is who's this been?
Jong Jin Bin.
Jong Jin Bin.
Yep, he was one of our competitors in last season's MEM Esports Championship. Let's see what he can do across the line. He comes and no improvement. He starts on the 4th row, but that's where you want to be. Anywhere in the top 10, you have every chance of making it. But for the most part, that gap, the gulf between who is in first and the rest is quite huge. And that will be Ethan Lowe up in front. He's the only driver to be in the 42. So that shows the kind of quality that he has in his locker.
Okay, so we've seen Ethan can do it in qualification. We know he can do it in the big race. It all depends on the start, I think. We saw in the Copper contest, the pole sitter got away quickly, and then he was able to really increase his lead because everybody else behind was bunched up and was racing.
Indeed, and that's what SM Fauzi did. So he'll probably take a leaf out of that book and try to emulate it, but with a field of different cars compared to what we had at Spec Series, you have differences in drivetrain, well, actually just drivetrain arrangement, front engine, rear wheel drive, or mid engine, rear wheel drive, so balance is a bit different. And it also depends on the driver as well, what kind of difference they could make. So for Ethan, he's in the most dominant car, which is the Mercedes-Benz, alongside the BMW here. So that will be a bit of tricky because he is around his teammates that have the same car. So we'll see. Are they going to play rear guard action, or are they going to try to go for broke?
Let's find out. The race itself will be a 30-minute single race with more points available in round 2. Round 1 in Fuji was, we knew what to expect. Round 2, we're in a new circuit, so there's a lot of getting used to it, and we've got the different point system in place. 40 points available for the winner. It can make or break a season. Will Sternagel, will he regret missing out here?
That would be quite a thing that we're going to talk about, because he did register for the second race, this second round, so I'm not sure any reasons why he'll be missing in action, apart from if he had to go back to Minnesota within a week. But the thing is, I highly doubt it. Maybe he had other commitments, so he will take this as a drop round, so he can console himself knowing the fact that he still has another shot before we flip the script for that final round, where anything can happen when it goes.
Okay, first row, Ethan Lowe and Jan. Second row, Yo came in very, very quickly alongside Fakrul. Third row, Shazli and Anafi. Fourth row, Aska from Indonesia, and Bin Morales, and your mate Abdullah on the 5th row. The winner to come from those front 5 rows, or is somebody able to come from the back? Is a Rubio or a Shamin or Ramos or an outsider able to come through?
Yeah, let's see how that goes. And the thing I like to do in this current format of ERGP is to view whoever's right at the back. And for Patrick Vincent Jacinto, look at the road that he has to cover with 29 other cars right in front. He could probably see Uzbekistan from here.
Yeah, that's okay. Very good. Maybe the rocket. Is the rocket takeoff from?
It's in Kazakhstan. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Red lights. When we are off, we will be underway. 30-minute race. Ethan Lowe on pole position. What kind of a start does Ethan go get? It's a little bit sluggish. Yongjian is alongside him. Oh, it's tight into that first corner. But Ethan Lowe just gets in ahead of Jam. Fakrul has overtaken Yo for P3. Shazli and Anafi in 4. Tell you what, nip and tuck that for Ethan Lowe, Amo.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to hit his fellow Malaysians because, again, that's probably why they can see each other after easily. But tell that to Hanafi, he goes for a bit of a spin and goes into the runoff area. What was a P6 now becomes a P16 and worse off because there's the rest of the field coming by and more drivers are actually going to hit the deck here if they are not careful.
Okay, that was really, really not good for Hanafi. A really good qualification, and he's down. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars coming into contact. As you said, Jonuel Emmanuel Ramos from Philippines. Hey, these boys are meant to be the bronze class. They're meant to know what they're doing, but it all got very tight as they came up around the S's. And then that right and sharp, left and sharp right seems to have caught 1 or 2 of them out.
Yeah, in fact, it was that blind corner again that you talked about earlier. The north end of the circuit really has become quite a tricky corner. We saw a few people come a cropper there, but because there's so many cars coming through, you don't know what's coming on the other side. And for Ramos, the only Cadillac in the entire field, he's ended up becoming a hearse.
Alfie Kowalski's done well out of all that carnage. He's got himself up into P4. He's got those 3 in front of them. He's got Jeremy Yeo. He's got Yong Jian. But behind him, he's got a little bit of traffic.
Yes, big time. Oh, there's speaking of traffic. There goes Sarif. He actually just hits the side of him, and Wilson Woon follows him almost out of sympathy because he actually has to get rid of a penalty.
So Zarif Adam loses, well, 3, 4, not too bad, more contact. Gosh, this is very, very physical in this first lap. Happily, Ethan Lowe is way clear. He's 1 second clear, but in the mid-ranks, look how congested. 3-4 adrift, 3-4 abreast.
Yeah, we can go further up to this particular battle pack. You can see there's Dave Chen coming around. A few more drivers behind it, going side by side. There you go. It's left, right, and center. And there's only so much you can go here because it's pretty much one-line circuit all the way through up to this point.
Malik Fakrul has dropped right the way down to P13. Oh. He was early on. Another drops out as well. Was that Wilson Woon who's there? JC comes through. But Malik, gosh, what a dreadful time for Malik. At one time he was P3. Now he must have been involved in a contretemps. He's right the way down, Malik, into P12.
Yeah, but probably because of the chucker blocks that happened in that first lap. That's probably why he ended up spinning around, because he got tapped by somebody in that crowd and right into the back. So either that or a poor start, whatever it is, not the way he wanted, because he was up in that top 10 in terms of starts. Now he has to fend off another few cars behind him and in front.
Hanafi in front of him. Hanafi was another who was spun out. It's a good recovery from Hanafi. He's got himself up into P6. The good news for those who had problems early on, it is a longer race. The bad news, they've got traffic to get through to get back into the top spots.
Indeed, and you can see the traffic from behind there. We're going back to where Malik is. Behind him, he's got Dave Chen. In front, he has Rizwan Shah that he has to overtake. But look at that gaggle of cars behind him waiting to pounce in case a mistake happens. That is really what's going to hurt if he actually has another half spin or gets involved in an unnecessary collision.
Are you looking forward or looking backwards in this scenario? Obviously, he wants to get really on the back of Shah and Hanafi in front of him. Hanafi's dropped down a little again. He's down into P10, Hanafi.
Yeah, that half spin at the start where he got a little bit too greedy trying to overtake was probably going to be not so beneficial for him in the long run. But again, as you said earlier, it's a longer race, so he can just probably bide his time. A win maybe not out of the question just yet because he's only about 5 seconds ahead. But look at that, more mistake again. He runs a bit wide. We're on board with Dave Chen, but we can see from the box seat that Hanafi really is pushing it.
And that's not even the blind corner. That's where the problems were. They look around the blind corner and then they accelerate down the straight. The second faster straight, Malik Fakrul has work to do. Redzwan is in front of him. You've got to take this one right. This is an awkward little chicane, isn't it? Right, left, and then you've got to prepare yourself again for another long straight with a 90-degree right-hander. It's all about putting yourself in the right time, and it goes right from the top of the hill.
Indeed. Well, it doesn't look like much, but it is a bit of a descent from the top of the hill here and into a very fast corner. It's a bit like... oh, no! What happened to Redzwan Shah? He's just defending. I thought he was going to get rid of a penalty here. I was about to say, this corner is like La Beauzée in Paul Ricard, where it just tightens on the exit here. And if you go wide, that's it. You're going to actually lose time and then lose more time when you try to slow the car to get rid of that penalty.
What was Redzwan defending there? There was no move from Malik. So what was Redzwan defending?
Oh, well, must have been a...
Ghosts. Oh, and then he loses it. There's contact. Malik does well enough to just bash his way through Rezwan Shah. He's up to P11, Malik Fakrul.
And what's even worse for Rezwan, look at that. He spun it completely around and out of the top 15 completely.
Well, for Rezwan, we looked at him. We wondered what he was defending. Those ghosts have got him again.
Probably a mirage. Well, because we're out in the middle of the desert, so that kind of makes sense. But either way, that is probably some subtle foreshadowing that he might have not anticipated. Either way, we're watching Zarivada because he was the one that actually had a big moment at the end of the first lap, coming to the final corner. Luckily, though, he kept it together. But now he's got some real fast guys behind, including Darwin Chia from the Legion of Racers team, or in this case, LORSN, the junior team. He's probably feeling a little bit bullish, trying to overtake, as well as Naufal Afif Hanafi.
Naufal, Entropy Motorsport, 12 points on day one. Again, there's big points available. If you can get into the top 5, you can really put yourself towards the top 5 of the overall championship. There is Darwin. He's got Zarif in front of him.
Well, you can foist or you can encounter foibles.
Very good. I like that. You've been doing this a long time now. Naufal has got, Naufal Hanafi in P11. Malik Fakrul has dropped down to P13. No, he's P11, my apologies.
Oh,
can't read.
Look at that. That's actually going to be a big one here from Adam Hakim. And there goes Haziq Aslan, no relation with yours truly. He goes off big time into that Le Bozé lookalike corner. And he now will fall into the clutches of Ayman Shamim, who's looking very racy here too.
Haziq and Ayman are working hard. Yep, he looks around the outside. Tries to go the long way round. There is no space there. Has he got the acceleration? He doesn't have the corner. Yes, he does. Ayman Shamin, is he able to hold on? He's on the racing circuit. Well, that's what you call a runoff track. I'm not quite sure that's strictly legal for Haziq, but...
Oh, what happened? Now what happened?
Disappeared.
Now Haziq Aslan has disappeared, so he probably just got banned for that. Yep, he's straight into the pits, so that might be an instant disqualification because he had a penalty to serve, but he didn't go for it because he just went through the start-finish straight. Okay,
bad boy Haziq. We've said that before, haven't we?
Well, it depends on how many Haziqs have been in this championship, but yeah, quite a few in a way. As Naufal has spun! Naufal has actually spun it! So he's out of the top 10 as well.
Naufal Hanafi is having a bit of a mare and having a difficulty actually accelerating back in as he waits for others to go around him. Ooh. And he's then just in the way. He blocks off 2 cards, Hanafi, and Andan is one of them. Rezwan Shah is another. Rezwan's been in the walls as well. And Rezwan goes through the inside. Highlight reel for Rezwan. He's got Hanafi in his sights. That big Ford is a big brute of a car. Is he able to handle it?
Yeah, but again, the exit is not as good as compared to the McLaren, though he will rely on that straight line speed here on the longest straight the entire circuit, coming up to the tight final sector. Looks as though he didn't get enough of a run here. He might have to watch his mirrors for... Well, where is that other guy? Chandra Mauli has actually dropped behind, so that's where when he actually had to serve a penalty for himself.
Rezwan Shah, I've enjoyed watching him. That's because I like the bish bash bang stuff. Rezwan does exactly what it says on the tin. Goes around on the inside. Hanafi manages to hold on, to his credit, Hanafi. Maybe Rezwan didn't actually push him off as I thought he would. He's going to have another go as Rezwan. This is very physical. This is almost bullying, Amo.
Yeah, I mean, he's driving an American car, so it is par for the course then. But the thing is, no amount of imperialism is enough to get an Indonesian out of the way.
Oh my word, I'm British. You can't mention things like that. There is Naufal Hanafi. Drives, he's done really well, to be fair. We were joking about the bullying, but he kept his line. Maybe Rezwan didn't follow through, but Hanafi has not given anything, and he's kept a little bit of a lead. What is the lead? 1 second ahead of Rezwan.
Yep, and really held his ground there. So Naufal shows he had the pace, but unfortunately, luck has deserted him, just like the desert here out in Kazakhstan. Now then, we're looking up further in front. I thought it was Avila Bahar, but it turned out to be a Malaysian named Adib Bahar, and he's showing real good form, but can he keep that up against Arman Abdullah, who is known to be quite a feisty racer?
Okay, Bahar has got a Chong in front of him, Chong Jin Bin. Oh, there's the feisty racer. That's excellent from Abdullah. You mentioned Abdullah before. Is he able to hold on? Has he got the acceleration? Oh, it's going to be nip and tuck. He's got the inside line, though, and Abdullah is able to hold on, and he takes P6. That's marvellous work from Armand Abdullah.
Indeed, and he got the run on it. Deep didn't put up much of a defense, but he is coming back at him, nipping at his heels, and it's still on. Look at that. That's almost touring car style driving, but they're in high-powered GTs. Somehow, Deep did not spin him around.
That was some serious NASCAR stuff going on there, as well as touring cars. Armand Abdullah has done well to hold on. You mentioned before you like his defensive work. The red light is on once again. This time it's too aggressive from Baha, and Armand Abdullah defends beautifully.
Indeed, and he held his line. He just broke on the racing line, kept it together, and he somehow manages to keep the car balanced when Deep was about to wipe him out there.
Well, Adib is the one who was wiped out. He dropped down to P10 and is under pressure from Dave Chen, who's just behind him. There is Dave Chen. Another wild corner from Baha. Oof.
I tell you what, Des, I think that front of that car is more than scuffed right now because he cannot seem to get enough of turning. Look at that. He just had to brake so narrow just to get the car right, and he still somehow runs wide on the exit.
Is damage a problem for him as well? The drag can maybe take Chen through. Has the inside line.
Ooh. Well, again, there's also another factor, 2x2 tire wear, and he had a spin, so the tires have probably been lit up. Oh, and he's gonna light up even more because there he goes and spins him right around. Deep Baha hasn't had the best minute or so.
Well, it's been spectacular to watch, but not great for his points. Kenny Lim has moves in. Kenny Lim moves to P14. He's got Anafi. Naufal Anafi has been in so many instances here. We're on board with Kenny. Naufal in front of him. And Naufal will look behind and he'll see that there's another of those big spanking Fords coming in, looking to try to dominate.
Yeah, you can hear the Star Spangled Banner coming through once you come onto the straight. But no amount of V6 power is enough to actually get by here to overtake Naufal, because again, Naufal did overtake Kenny for position. Kenny is the one that is a bit scruffy right now, and he's gone into the pits now. In fact, he's actually having to clear a penalty. So that cut just now was one too many, and he's stopped in the middle of the racetrack, lights up the rear tires, and will now have to fight for position between himself, Muhammad Hakimi, and Chandramauli Anandan.
Okay, in all of that, Redwan Shah went through, so he's the latest to try and bully his way through. Kenny Lim is there. Kenny Lim has got Hakimi in front of him. Redwan Shah way in front of them. Oh, Kenny Lim is almost sliding through. He's almost drifting through. And Anandan, who we're on board with, just had to give away a little bit.
Yeah, and he had to give it up because he doesn't want to be the one on the outside. He'll just be sent all the way to Narnia if that was the case. He just wanted to keep it together here because look at that. Points is only just a few positions away. He wouldn't want to stuff this up now.
Where are we in timing? We are approaching halfway. We have 16:35 to go. Up at the front, we've not really given Ethan Lowe much love. Ethan Lowe 1.7 seconds clear of Yongjian in P2. In P3, 3 seconds down on them. We've got Jeremy Yeo, and another 4 seconds down on them. We've got Azka. I think earlier on we saw exactly this. You get away early. You have free tarmac in front of you. You're able to just focus on your lap times. Make sure you hit the apexes perfectly. That's what's happening. All the scrapping goes on behind you.
Indeed, and you can make a beeline for it once those people start scrapping out, and that's exactly what Hakimi is trying to do because right now he's got quite a bit of a group forming behind him, and he's the only one in an SN GTR. Quite brave of him to do so because that car is really irrelevant in the world of GT3 racing nowadays. He's doing his own here, holding his ground quite well, but not sure how much longer he can hold on to this because behind him are two guys who are really desperate for points and who can be quite feisty on occasion.
In terms of defending though, how big can he make his car? How difficult to overtake? He's got bullies behind him, Kenny Lim. Let's have a look at what Hakimi is able to do. Well, he's got the racing line. It's up to the boys behind him. It's up to Anandan and Kenny Lim to actually get past him. So long as he takes the racing line, he's got every right.
Indeed, and again, no much histrionics into the way he's defending. He's just driving his own thing. Kenny Lim, on the other hand, is just trying to unpick the locks here by picking out some different lines and put him under pressure, put him under the cosh, shall we say, in the way that he has to drive in front while looking backwards.
Around that blind corner, you do get used to it. You do know what's coming up. So long as you've got the right line, so long as no traffic in front of you. Tell you what, Hakimi, the car may be uncompetitive, but his driving is nice and neat and tidy. Nice lines, beautifully through, takes the right apex. No space there for anybody to attack.
And crucially, he's only just a couple of seconds behind the next driver in the point, so he still has a chance here. Likewise, Naufal Afif, he's trying to go at Aiman Shamim. Bruneian versus Indonesian, who's going to come out on top here in the battle of the midships. It looks as though Aiman swings it around the outside, keeps it together. Does he still hold the line? They can still go for it. That Le Bose type corner really does offer you an opportunity to hang it, but Naufal is brave on the brakes and holds it deep.
I think Naufal is a better driver. The Entropy Motorsport man. 12 points on the first. Yeah, we saw he was pretty quick, Naufal. He's been pushed back because of incidents involving him. He's just working himself up. Was he P12 now? Maybe he'll be looking for a top 10. With just nearly half the race still to go, there is time to pick up places for Naufal, Afif and Afi.
Indeed, and speaking of someone who might pick up a few more places here, look at this. We singled him out earlier because of his performance last time out in Fuji, but Arman Abdullah actually is up for a top 5. Qualifying may be in a bit of slight bust, but he can still salvage some points here, and we're just about halfway through the season and championship, but damage limitation is all it takes here to try to take their steps to the championship.
Chong Jin Bin is the man in front. He's within a second of him. It was 1.5 seconds, so he's lapping a little bit better. Just did a 1:43.9. Armand Abdullah last lap out, so he is pretty quick at the moment. Where is he? He's in P6 at the moment as they come onto this right-hander. No real opportunity to attack, but if you get the line right, you can propel yourself out of here to a good position to attack onto the final couple of corners.
And these corners, well, your favorite corner is the blind corner. My favorite corner is this one because it's quite fast. It actually tightens on the exit right up to this little Mickey Mouse section that's a bit like Circuit of the Americas in sector number 2. It just feels so exhilarating. From a fast corner, suddenly you have to be awake again to try and get the car as neat as possible onto the apex and set itself up for the exits to really get on a good lap. Or in this case, get up to the back of somebody, because for Arman Abdullah, he's gained only just a couple of hundreds that time around. So Jin Bin actually has a measure of him while in front. Likewise, Alfiko Azkar is staying really pretty in P4.
That's exactly. It's very neat and tidy. All the races we've seen so far. Let's go a little bit further down. This is Luke Morales. Morales, where did he do?
Ooh, look at that on the inside, side by side. Mercedes on Mercedes. Filipino versus Malaysian. And it looks as though the Malaysian gets around there on the outside, which becomes the inside line afterwards. That's a really brave move. He really had to bank on the fact that Morales was not going to do anything untoward, and guess what? It paid off, but he compromised himself here on that tight corner up to the blind brow, and it looks as though Morales will try to repay the favor. Side by side they go, and they're still side by side.
That is close. Morales on the inside. Dave Chen is on the outside. Morales just sneaks back, so he lost it for 3 or 4 corners, but just kept his racing line. Dave Chen is going to try and be aggressive once again. A little bit of contact, but Morales has got the line. He's got the right, and he goes... Oh, Dave Chen. Morales that time went a little bit wide. Oh, what a slugfest this is between these two.
Yeah, and this is between 2 equal cars, so it really is going to be dependent on whether or not the drivers will be up to the task. And it looks as though Morales, in his defense, was very, very good in regaining position. Some people would just have their spirits broken immediately from being overtaken, but he didn't take it lying back. He went at it immediately.
This is P8 and P9 as they come to this double right-hander. These are your favourite corners, aren't they? This double right-hander.
The one before that.
Oh, the one before, yeah, where they sweep into here.
Oh, something happened to Naufal Afif. He's actually been listed as D on his name. That means that he's DNF'd. So it might have been either a collision somewhere, or he actually just cut the corner too many and he's been disqualified. Would you believe it? The driver who's had so much in the wars today is out of it.
Naufal Afif Anafi, that hurts his championship hopes as well. He was in the top 10 in qualification. He dropped down. He was working his way up, but maybe a little bit too aggressively. This is a good battle going on, but they're behaving very nicely. There hasn't been a counter punch coming in here between Dave Chen and Morales.
I think they're going for the 9 rounds for sure. because for a second he was using the rope-a-dope strategy. Was Morales really was hanging onto it by the breeches and somehow managed to cap back with a left hook. Boxing analogy.
Inside the final 10 minutes, inside the final third. This is Dave Chen in P9. He's got Morales ahead of him. Here's your mate, Armand Abdullah. Again, working. He's got much closer this time to Chong. Chong Jinbin is feeling the pressure. It's 0.5 of a second between them. He's not been able to really get close enough, Armand Abdullah, to get the drive, to get the drag that he needs.
Yeah, and speaking of drive, look at that. That's Dave Chen getting a good move on the inside. But he is on the outside here, coming up now to the longest straight of the entire circuit. There it is again. We saw it in the previous lap, how close it was between these two. It's become even closer here, coming up to the fastest corner in the entire circuit.
Morales has the inside line and holds on to it. Been very impressed with Luke Morales. He's been under intense pressure from Dave Chen, but he's actually just kept the racing line once again. The Filipino then dives on the brakes and holds it. Dave Chen has to hurriedly dive on his brakes to make sure there's no contact.
Yep, and again, this is good bit of driving from these two, and this is why we talked about the progression from copper class to bronze class. Some of these guys have been through the war zone that was in copper to make it out here. They not only had to make it up to a division, you had to crawl your way out. Don Revy quote. That is definitely what these guys have done, and look at that. The end result is they've become better drivers in close quarter combat.
Some of the competitors won't even, their fathers weren't born when Don Revy was around. Okay, Morales leads his way through. Ooh, again, he slams on the brakes, but he's got every right to. He's the man in the lead. He's the man who's got the racing line. Chen is trying to be creative, goes a little bit wide, then cuts it a little bit tight. Gets up tight as they come up to this blind corner once again. My favorite view. That's where the rockets take off in Kazakhstan, isn't it?
Yep. Baikonur Cosmodrome is about a days away, but yeah, you can probably see it just beyond the horizon. Really, really nice. It looks like you're being launched up in the air when you go through there.
Morales holds on once again. Nice discipline from both these racers. I suppose they want the points. Chen goes around the outside. Morales takes the right. Was there a little touch there?
And the thing is, he parked it on the entry because he wanted to stall Dave's momentum on the way out, and he has done so. Look at that. Dave is actually a little bit more desperate this time. He's feeling antsy, knowing the fact that that was his best opportunity to come by, but Morales was equal in his defense.
You do wonder whether or not they're just lining up with 7.5 minutes to go. Yes, you want to be in the lead, but maybe you're just saying, okay, that's where I can take him next lap around. I've got a little bit of time.
A bit of a dress rehearsal for what's to come. That is definitely for sure. But you can't fault Dave for trying it earlier because he wants to see how Luke can actually fall into that trap. He was equal to it, but then blocked him on the exit, so he'll probably try to think of where to do next because he has been in front of him before, but it didn't work out that time. He'll try other alternatives, and that's a back marker for good measure right in front.
That can always complicate things. Just 0.3 of a second as they come down this main straight. Again, nothing but admiration for Luke Morales on how he's coped with the pressure in the last 2-3 laps it is. The back marker is Patrick Vincent Jacinto.
Might be a teammate from the same team because they are part of the track esports operation at one point. So if Jacinto becomes a bit of a foil here to Chen, that might do the business. But at this point, Jacinto actually is blocking Dave Morales a bit. And guess what? There you go. He slots in right behind Morales. He helped out a bit, but Jacinto tries to come back at him, and that compromises Morales.
And Dave Chen has got the inside line. He sweeps down the hill. Well, you mentioned that the back marker might cause a problem. It's caused a problem, but not for Dave Chen. The problem has come for Luke Morales.
Wow. You thought that a fellow countryman can be someone to bank on, but unfortunately, he got robbed.
Well, gosh. So Dave Chen, now he's the man under pressure for Morales.
Yeah, let's see what Dave can do in his defense, and looks as though he didn't park it in the apex this time around. We can see that is Morales, I think. Yeah, it's Morales on the inside here, and he comes through, coming out to the fast sweep. He gets back on the inside, would you believe it? Chen is not doing much in his defense there.
This is a brilliant race between these two. Maybe in the same colours, but that's what's making it brilliant, because they're in identical vehicles, and that means that there's no additional power. It's all on driver skill. Morales, to be fair, has defended wonderfully and then has attacked beautifully after temporarily losing his place to Chen. Not once, but twice now.
Yeah, he'll be a bit miffed by that, knowing the fact he could have actually defended harder, but credit to where it's due. Nothing dirty between the both of them, so they have kept it completely fair, and at least less work for the stewards back after the race. So Great driving between both of them. And speaking of that, we're probably going to see some great driving here too.
Oh, 3 abreast.
Darwin Chen in the meat of that sandwich at one point. Now he has to fight with Rezwan Shah. Again, Rezwan's been in the reels too. And make it a 4-way because behind them is another back marker. That's not Hakimi. I thought Hakimi was behind because he's in the GTR. But this is an intriguing battle all the way through.
Rezwan has had a lot of highlights. In front of him, he's got Shamin. Rezwan will be aggressive. Oh, Rezwan.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, he might be having some connection issues. But looks as though he's still in the race. Hopefully it doesn't become a factor anywhere in the circuit that's quite fast. That might cause a major accident.
Shamin in front of him. Rezwan is right on his tail. 0.2 of a second behind. He is within touching distance. They're in a fast train going through the chicane. They take this right-hander and they're just about settling themselves towards the final straight. 4 minutes to go. Shamin in P10. Again, worth holding on. Rezwan Shah goes around the inside. Is he able to hold on? He'll be on the right side, but I tell you what, that's good pace there. Good pace from Shamin. Rezwan still tries to hold on the inside. Rezwan has another attack. Shamin has to respond again. Rezwan on the inside. Leaves the braking late and actually leaves the braking beautifully and is able to hold on to that big beast of a Ford.
And guess what? He actually, because of the block pass he's done on Ayman Shamim, that allows Darwin Chia to come back in. And he's into the pits! Would you believe it? Just as he made a brilliant maneuver, Rezwan Shah actually goes into the pits. So this might be either a penalty or for fuel. He might have run out of the fuel there.
Rezwan Shah goes into the pits. It means that Darwin Chia, he's in a battle with Amin Shamin. It was 3, now it's 2. Darwin, bottom right of your screen, working very hard. Looks a little bit tense there, Darwin. Whoa. Not surprised.
He's wrapping his knuckles around the wheel. You can probably see that. And he's actually driving with the brand new Moza wheel by the looks of it. That one with the ref counter spinning as you turn the wheel. But he wouldn't be minding the flash too much because right now he has his eyes set on the man in front, Ayman Shamim, with some really wild defending because sometimes he actually just flings the car through the corner and somehow it sticks.
As we're looking at, I can tell you Anand Abdullah has lost a place. He was really on the back of Chong Bim, but now he's dropped down to P7. 1.7 seconds down on Zarif Shazli.
Might be a penalty.
Yeah, bound to be.
Because, again, if he cut a corner somewhere, and it looks as though he's doing it again. The car's losing a lot of pace, and he might just lose it here too. Well, that's a back marker in one of the Janettas, but that doesn't sound like a proper way to drive because Razi Aziz is catching up to him. And this time, Razi Aziz is in a different car. He's not driving a Ferrari where he had his door open at one point.
Ahmad Abdullah in P7. He's had an interesting race. 2 minutes to go. Inside 2 minutes. Back to Darwin Chia. He goes around the outside, but there's not enough space for Darwin to get through Shamin, or is there? Now there's an additional. Hakimi is joining the party. And then there were 3. 3's a crowd, don't you know, Hakimi?
Ooh. And tell you what, he's the interloper in between these two. He just wants to get by the both of them. And tell you what, he has actually put up a stout race so far. Can he make it even better to be up in the top 10? Looks like Ayman Shamim just stalled Darwin Chia a bit. Darwin now is going to be under attack from the Nissan. And the Singaporean pries the door open.
Hakimi gets himself through. Has he got the line? Darwin closes the door and kind of bullies him out. Front line once again to Hakimi. This is the battle for 10, 11 and 12. Sorry, 9, 10, 11.
Oof.
No, 10, 11, 12 as Hakimi goes through. 4 in a line.
Yep, and now we're going to go on board with Kenny Lucas. He's got the box seat in this. With an Italian, a German, and a Japanese manufacturer going it out. We haven't seen that trio since the Second World War.
We are on the last lap. Okay. We are on the last lap as Hakimi works on the inside of Darwin Chia. Amo is still glorying in his humour. Amin Shamin and Darwin Chia is there. We're on board with Hakimi. Has he got a chance to make the move here? He's working on the inside, but he's running out of time. He's running out of space as well. Hakimi dives in on the inside, able to hold on, Amo.
Can he? But Darwin Chia does have the outside line, which has been beneficial for some to hang it, and he sweeps it back up. But Hakimi has the breaking point here on the inside. They're still going at it, and here comes American Might coming to spoil the party.
Yeah, Kenny Lim is coming through as well. What a terrific battle here. We need to focus on the winner. Ethan Lowe is about to cross the line. Or is coming close to the... he's halfway through his last lap, isn't he? We'll focus on him in a second as Hakimi goes through. Here is Ethan Lowe. So, sorry about the lack of love, Ethan. We do love you. But a 7.9 second lead means that we don't pay an awful lot of attention to you. It's a terrific performance. He will be the new championship leader. Very good in qualification. 5 points there, 40 points here. And what's his fastest lap? A 1:44.4?
I think it's definitely 43.
1:43s, is he?
Yep. But we have not seen the fastest lap being shown because these are the previous laps. So I think we can safely say that he managed the pace up in front. He had nobody to deal with. He is probably odds on to score maximum points here today, Des.
So our winner, as he comes round the final couple of corners, a right, a left, and then he'll waltz his way through over the finishing line. Leader on the final lap, Ethan Lowe. Malaysian for the Papega Red Pack Asia eRacing team takes the victory, celebrates himself coming in P2. You've got Yong Jian, that's good for his championship challenge as well, and P3 is going to be Jeremy Yeo from the Hey 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 team.
Hey, that's definitely what he will love to say as he comes across now with Alfico Aska racing him a close 4th. Meanwhile, Jing Bin just hangs on to 6th place in front of Zarif Adam. So that's your top 6 right now. We're waiting for the rest of the field to come by. It's quite spread out right now because long races do tend to have it like that. Meanwhile, Darwin Chan and Hakimi are still fighting it.
Good battle going on here. Kenny Lim's got himself in front there.
Wow, that is a ton of events. Hakimi literally got mugged there for position, and Imam Shamin's out to P9 out of all of this. So it's still not over between these guys. It's going to make it across the start-finish line. Is this going to be a drag race? Darwin hangs around the outside, Hakimi on the inside, but he just loses out by only a couple tenths of a second. So all the way to the line, it was a great battle around, and we have a traffic jam because everyone's doing burnouts in front of the first corner. So everyone's happy to complete a half-an-hour race.
Really thrilling for Hakimi. Only P13 for him. He was 1/10 down on Chia and a full second down on Kenny Lim in the end. But a great victory for Ethan Lowe, and it puts him at the top of the standings, Amo Hazik.
Yes.
And it'll be difficult to knock him off there.
The thing is, his confidence will be riding so high after this, and the fact that he is on for a double in 2 years. He won bronze last time out. He wants to win bronze. Definitely, he is the man in form in every single metric. Can't wait to see how round 3 will entail, because then we'll be into squeaky bum time.
There was some really good racing on in the middle. I love the work of the Fords. I love the bullying of the Fords, but the Nissan coming in as well with a nice little finish there from Hakimi. Not quite able to go through, but good to see the differences in cars.
Indeed, and again, the eclectic mix of manufacturers up in front is what we love to see, but Mercedes seems to be still the car of choice for a lot of people. Regardless of that, we quite enjoyed it. As our old mate Afiq Farid once said, bronze delivers, and this time it delivers in spades, if it was a little bit of a slow burner.
Very good. Okay. I think we will move on to the silver and gold next. We don't get the championship standings. No, we don't. We'll move on to silver and gold next. You're watching eRGP Season 17. We're in Kazakhstan, and we have had 2 of our 3 races. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes now.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the eRacing GP. We've got Ethan Lau in the house here, just fresh off his victory in the bronze class. Ethan, first things first, I just noticed this time around you're not wearing your seatbelt going into this race. Care to explain why?
I don't know actually. I was just feeling like not wearing a seatbelt today, so it was pretty weird. Maybe it's like a luck thing. But I mean, the seatbelt does sometimes help when I'm practicing with, for example, like on track stuff like in real life. So it makes you feel like you're on a race car. So now that I think of it, I don't really need to wear it for simulators.
Yeah, in the virtual world for sure. But yeah, I mean, again, congratulations for taking this race in round number 2. I mean, again, seeing how ecstatic you were at like celebrating on the line there. I mean, is this kind of like you trying to bring back like the same kind of like performance you had in the last season? Because right now it's looking like you're really on top here when it comes to the bronze class.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get good rounds consistently, laps, doing laps consistently. And I actually didn't have high hopes for this round because it was a pretty new track, and there were not really guidelines on YouTube or anything. So I was coming to this round with kind of low expectations, but then
yeah,
I was able to perform.
I mean, on that note, actually, like, what do you think about the track itself? I mean, it's definitely a very new environment, both for us here in the ERGP, and I think for a lot of the drivers who had to literally learn about this track just when it got announced earlier this week. Like, how was that process for you, though, from the moment you heard about the track to practice and coming into the race now?
I wasn't really surprised because I usually just drive Sepang for practice, so I'm mostly used to one track. So I'm not surprised having new tracks coming into my roster. So I think it's just a learning path for me.
I mean, good point as well, because like literally the same person who designed Sepang also designed this track, so maybe there's a little bit of familiarity that kind of helped out there, right? But in any case, very dominant race here you had in round number 2. Like, any thoughts about how the season's going to be? Because it looks like for Pepega Racing Team, you guys pretty much lock out the front few rows every single qualifying session, though. I mean, it looks like an amazing run right now for your team here.
Yeah, I feel like the whole team is putting up max out full throttle into every round, especially my teammates Elliot and Yongjen. full pushing, but young Elliot didn't make it today because he had baseball. So
Yeah.
I feel like the team is working really hard to try and get consistent lap times and try and win the championship again.
All right. So last but not least, I'd like to give the floor to you to go ahead and give like any shout outs or anyone you'd like to thank here after this race.
I just want to thanks eRGP for giving this opportunity for me to perform in the virtual world, and I think there will be more in the future.
Oh yeah, we are certainly going to be looking forward to that. Thank you so much. This is Ethan Lau, the winner for round number 2 in the bronze class, and we wish him all the best, all the luck in the coming rounds here in GE17.
Yep, thank you very much.
All right. So now we're already reaching the tail end of our broadcast here. So you know what that means here, Ammo. It's going to be time for our silver and gold class drivers to now take to the track. I mean, we've seen so far how the drivers have performed in the copper class, bronze class as well. Lots of tight racing, even in the bronze class. Like especially some of the head-to-head battles here, looking like it's such a conducive place, I think, for all these sort of like side-by-side battles, isn't it?
Indeed, and in fact, the first sector alone, you can see the side-by-side action in GT3 cars. Hypercars might not be the same thing, and the LMP2s because more aero, and the cars will have a bit of wake turbulence right behind it. But for the most part, yes, it has provided some really good side-by-side action. Let's see if we can get more of those in these much faster cars though, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the practice times right now. We're talking about 15 seconds on average, faster than the bronze class GT3 cars. So the hypercar certainly, I think, will feel like the laps on here will just fly by so quickly, especially with the 3 long straights that we have here in the Sokol circuit. So at the moment, we're still awaiting the start of qualifying session. The qualifying session, again, because we're running on format B, it's going to be a 10-minute qualifying session. Are we going to be seeing like a literal rush at the very start, just like with the bronze class here?
Well, because we have mixed class here, it's a mixed class race. You got LMP2s, you got hypercars. The speed differential is, well, not as much as in previous years like LMP or LMP2, but regardless, they do not want to be stuck in that gaggle, as we'll probably set the scene right now before we go into qualify to see how the championship looks like for both classes. Here we go then. This is the silver class. Iman Ryan for Apex Racing Brunei is up in front, but not by much. 10 points ahead of Lonto Marcus Lacambra, who is racing the Hudson Miku livery. That's quite nice to see. Chester Elok, who made the jump up from bronze after a couple of seasons in there, he will be looking to also strike at Iman Ryan too if the opportunity arises. Zef Yuen, he was given a little bit of talking to in the driver's briefing about how to defend, but regardless of that, I think he has gone pretty much a long way since he started racing during the pandemic. So really then, those top 4 guys are the early pace setters, but don't discount anybody in that top 10 who might spring a surprise. That's because there's more points on offer in the second round, Vic.
Exactly. I mean, again, this is still, we're only just about to get into the halfway point now for GE17, so still plenty of points, plenty of 2 more races to go after this, so certainly a lot of points to be fought for here. Now we move on to the gold class. Chester Lam right now leading by only a single point. The driver of Hong Kong in front of the driver from Malaysia, Sarawak. Cameron James right now with 28 points. He's been looking like such a strong competitor ever since he came into the global edition, so fantastic to see that the two of them will be very much neck to neck now going into round 2.
Indeed, and look at how close again, because okay, it is after the first round, but regardless of that, you might normally see someone dominating the way and have big points haul. Not this time. Gold class, as ever, is very, very close ever since we introduced the hypercars into the category. 8 points from first to 6. That will be a key sticking point here coming into the second round, but pace setter right now is Chester Lam in the practice session as we jump into the action pretty soon. But yeah, there we go. We're jumping in now. Was just about to talk with the circuit on how it has been conducive to the racing, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
Hypercars depends first, because you can see right now the disparity between who's fastest and the rest of the field. 1 second.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, these cars are a lot faster, a lot more like active, like especially under heavy braking and turning. Ooh, some of them are even struggling to get out of the pits right now. But
that was Ayman Hakim who won it in the pit lane. That is a bit of an amateur hour moment for him.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's probably just going to be a footnote, but that is, again, what you were saying. cars are difficult.
Yeah, the cars are a lot more difficult, and considering that the track itself is a little bit it will definitely feel a lot shorter compared to driving in a GT3. So that's something that the drivers will have to contend with here. But and again, like, these cars are so much bigger in terms of their track width and etc. compared to the GT3 class. So conversely, it means that the amount of space you have really to do that side-by-side action, not as much, in this LMDH cars compared to the GT3s.
Ooh, and again, one other thing that you have to talk about is when you put the classes together.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who was that in the firing line. That was Calvin Powell. So Calvin was in that firing line of LMDH and LMH cars coming through. As you can see there, aggressively warming up the tires is the rest of the field, and Calvin decides to be Kimi Räikkönen and not do anything.
I was literally looking for that reference there, but perfect reference there. Kelvin is just feeling not so plus right now. I think he's more concerned actually about staying out of the way of the hypercars more than anything else, because he's absolutely surrounded here. And given that we saw a lot of cars being lapped already, even in the other classes, I think especially in this one here, the LMP2 cars will be sort of like the additional obstacle here that our LMDH, our Gold class drivers will have to contend with here. So they're going to be seeing exactly how these Silver class drivers are able to either stay out of the way or try to not disrupt the racing, as it were, here for the Gold class drivers.
In case in point, just now, look at how much Calvin Powell had to back off there. When there's not Calvin Powell. I was trying to focus on him just now. But further up behind there, we see some LMP2 guys. That's probably the right course of action to do, because you do not want to be the one to disrupt a hypercar coming by. As you can see, Justin Raldev leading a gaggle of cars coming through the start-finish line. Calvin Powell then really got stuffed over by being the meat in the middle of an entire hypercar sandwich.
Yeah, and the thing, this is very much going to be how it's going to look like during the race as well. The LMP2 cars, the Silver class drivers being in the mix together with the Gold class drivers, going to be lapped, I think, at least several times, during at least once or twice during the course of this 30-minute race. So that's certainly something that, it's part of the challenge, actually, of racing here in GE17. With the combined classes here in Gold and Silver, that's part of giving these drivers a taste, right, of how it is doing an endurance race.
Yep, multi-class racing. That's what we intend to do, because again, due to the LMP2s and hypercars having differentials, it does become a problem when the cars become close in terms of the closing speed coming into the tight corners. But for the time being, though, guys like Chester Lam and Keith Moore are in a bit of rarefied air up in front. We'll see the first proper competitive times come through, and Hong Sui actually does that. He is in a 30.7. Azza comes through, and then Chester Lam beats them all by going a 30.1. Now let's see if he can actually go even faster in his second proper time lap. But for the time being, though, that is some representative time to beat.
I mean, for Chester, I think even a time under 130 could be on the cards here if he can continue to find more improvements. We still have 6 minutes left in qualifying, so Chester certainly can go back in, grab a fresh set of tires, and continue to try to push that time even shorter here, even though he's already in provisional pole. Like, the closest person to compete with him is Haywood Sui, who is driving the Porsche here, but he's still 0.6 of a second behind, so still a lot more time he has to find out on track here, and he's only got the next 5 minutes to do so.
Indeed, it'll be half the session gone and half of the session to go. But for Haywood, look at that. He's got a fellow Porsche right in front, which is Mohamed Azza. The Bruneian actually has been holding his own in Endurance Edition, and this time he's proving it more so in the Gold class in Global Edition. But for Haywood, that's probably not the obstacle he wants to see right now, because that has compromised him a bit. And he's got, I think that's Keith Moore right behind. Yep, Keith Moore is behind both of them here. Let's see if there's any improvements on lap times between the both of them, but no doubt Sui has actually been bogged here by virtue of the fact that he has an equal car right in front of him.
In case we're going to be seeing if Keith Moore is going to be able to improve his time. Currently sitting in 4th place provisionally, comes across, makes it up into 2nd place, 130.356. Great improvement here for Keith Moore.
But look at that, 29.6 for Chester Lam. Chester goes one better, 7/10 faster than Keith, so Keith still needs a couple of tenths more to be in the same postcode as Chester Lam. But regardless, that is a good lap time coming in from Keith, who's having a bit of a reward at the end of the season if he actually manages to win the Gold class by his dad, Rick, buying him a PS5.
The powerhouse from Hong Kong has now set the bar, 129.6. That's going to be a very, very, very hard mark here for all the other drivers here to reach, but they will have to try here. Now having a look at our silver class Alonso Marcus Lacambra right now, looking like he is in the pole for the silver class, stays ahead of Chester Elog by only a tenth of a second. Very competitive times here, and no surprise given that the silver class are a spec series car, so not a lot of differential when it comes to power and performance here. It's all in the driver skill.
Indeed. And a couple of other cars that we're going to focus on here, because we need to give some love to the LMP2s as well. They're actually quite a competitive class. This is Chester Elog, who's I think driving for Swift Sim Racing. So I said earlier it was Track Esports, but now it's Swift, so they're getting a bit swifty there.
I'm just wondering what exactly is that on his livery, because it's almost completely white except for the panel where the fuel cap is. It seems to be a bit of like
A picture.
a picture or something. I can't quite make
It's
it
a
out.
Ferrari. It's a Ferrari driver, but I can't tell. But we're not going to speculate too much on it, because we're looking at the other drivers here. Iman Ryan, who's up to P3 in the LMP2 category. He's making his way around right now. Azib Shami Mokhtar, 4th in the qualifying session in LMP2 or in the silver class. So he's making his way through right now. And again, look at that traffic right in front of him. He's in clear air, but for how long? Because once the hypercars come through, that will become a bit tricky. As you can see, Amirul Naim comes by to overtake Azib's teammate Justin Raldev. Justin, who was in the commentary box in Fuji this time 2 weeks ago, is now being compromised here. Probably will be compromised for the next lap as they start a new one.
Yeah, and mind you, like Azib Shami Mokhtar and Iman Ryan are only separated by 10 milliseconds. Azib will be coming across the line. Does he improve his time? Well, not enough to dethrone Chester Elog, who has also improved his time. Is now a tenth of a second ahead here of Azib Mokhtar.
And he's behind Justin already, so that might compromise his lap a bit.
Yeah.
Really not the most ideal way to start a new one, so he has to back it off here, because look at behind. That's pole sitter Chester Lam.
Yep, Chester Lam now just giving a little bit of way here to allow, being given way there by the silver class third place holder at the moment. Oh, getting a little bit too close for comfort there. Has to kick all the way outside into the asphalt in order to try to stay out of trouble. As Justin Raldev is kind of in the way here. Justin may have to move out of the way sooner rather than later here, because he's got a gold class driver right behind. But I think Chester decides, I'm just going to let these guys through, open up a bit of space for myself, and hopefully be able to get a nice lap in here later on, because when he's going to be starting his hot lap very much soon.
And granted, he doesn't have any other cars that are equal speed apart from LMP2s right behind, so he will be happy with that one. Meanwhile, Azza has moved up to P2 right now, and he's right behind Keith Moe, so he's looking at the guy who's in third, but he's also chasing him physically, so that is actually a good barometer that he is actually gaining time, but he's still not in the same postcode as Chester.
Yeah, and Velasquez also set a good time to get himself up to 5th place. The only Lamborghini driver in the gold class here is certainly putting it up very high up indeed here. So 130 still seems to be the mark here for most of our drivers. Only Chester so far has been able to break under that barrier. So who else is going to be able to join Chester there in the 129's club? I mean, the closest seems to be either Mama Azza or Keith Moore, or perhaps even Haywood Sui, if he can somehow find another half second out here in the Sokol circuit.
Well, we're looking at Velasquez right now. Let's see what he can do as he comes across the line now. Can he go up? Yes, he's improved his time, but he's still P5, but he has enough time to do another one because he goes around here for yet another lap. Iman Ryan has actually stopped into the pit lane, so his qualifying is done. Azib Shami, meanwhile, we were looking at earlier, is still stuck behind his teammate Justin Raldev, and unfortunately, look at that. Chester Lam right behind. They've not had the best of opportunities to set a lifetime here, and for Azib, he is gonna have to give way here because look at that coming for the chicane, and there you go. Fair play, but Chester has cut the corner, so he's come back into the pit lane. Now, it's up to Muhammad Azza if he can actually get into lap time in. Locks up a bit, all four break this glow as he went through, trying to get up to the back of Keith Moe and Haywood Sui.
Yeah, still the very early part of his lap just gone past. I believe just only finished like the first sector, so still plenty of time left. Now he's already on the first of the 3 straights right now, coming into the chicanes. This is a very crucial part here, especially for qualifying. He wants to ensure that he gets a good exit, especially out of this last one here. Looks nice, neat, and tidy. Riding over the curbs now, going onto the longest straight on the Sokol circuit. He's got plenty of room up in front of him, so no worries at all as far as traffic is concerned. We still have Keith Moe as well as Haywood Sui continuing to run out just in front of him, so it's literally going to be a race to that finish line, to that checkered flag, to see who is going to be able to get those improvements done. As far as you can see from Delta, it looks like Azza is already up like a tenth of a second here. May not be enough here to dethrone Chester Lam, who is no longer running in this session now. He's already taken the checkered flag, coming around the final corner of Haywood Sui, Keith Moe, as well as Mohamed Azza, who is going to be the one to join Chester Lam in that second row. Seems like Keith Moe is going to be the first one with a good time, a good improvement, but Azza also improves his time, stays ahead of Haywood Sui, so it looks like that is going to be your top 3.
Wow, look at that. What an improvement from Keith up to second place. And that will definitely do his championship aspirations a whole world of good here to get it up there. Now, where is Lacambra? He's actually back in the pit lane as well. He's on pole position in the silver class by just a whisker above a tenth of a second to Chester Elog, with Azib Shamim Mokhtar in third place. So Azib, despite qualifying not being going on according to plan, has managed to actually get it up to third in class. Imarayan fourth in silver, and fifth is Zef Yuan. Behind him is Alberto Miguel Descalzo, who's actually in the P6 in this class. And 7th, Justin Raldev in the silver class. So he didn't get the best of qualifying runs, but he'll be hoping that the race will be much better. But regardless of that, in the silver category, gold class, the man of the hour right now, Chester Lam, looks as though he's going to take the bull by the horns in this championship, Vic. Oh. He is almost 5/10 of a second, half a second ahead of Keith Moe.
That's going to be interesting to see how he's going to be able to translate that into race pace here. Mind you, still going to be a 30-minute race, so Chester Lam's victory not guaranteed even at this point, but he's certainly looking like he has a huge advantage compared to the rest, at least in terms of the pace around a single lap right now. I mean, I'm looking actually at like the gaps between some of these drivers here. I mean, we saw Michael Vincent Velasquez qualify only 33 milliseconds behind Haywood Sui to miss out on that 4th place. We also have Adam Harif only 55 milliseconds off of Kazani Ramdani for 7th place. It's incredibly close, and this is all for the gold class here, mind you. You know, these cars are not technically that equal between each other, but yet these drivers are so in tune with the machines, they're able to match their lap times with each other. It's just amazing to see here from our gold class.
Unbelievable stuff here, Vic. And case in point of how close it is, 2nd to 6th is separated by 7/10 of a second. Sure, 7/10 sees a lot where you see Formula 1 gaps nowadays, because first 20th can be within 8/10. But because of how different these cars are and the drivers can make the skill up for it, this actually is quite a close gap. 7/10 of a second, as Adrenaline Alliance Motorsport is getting good support from a user named Evo. Not Yellow Evo, unfortunately, for Gran Turismo. But yeah, Adrenaline Alliance are definitely getting support in there. Shang Yuan, the former competitor who raced with a keyboard and mouse at one point, he's saying a good job to Keith. And Ayman Shamim, who came from the bronze race just now, is cheering on his fellow Bruneians. In this case, Muhammad Azza, Amirul Naim, and a certain Iman Ryan, who was in the top 5 just now. So that's your Bruneians in there. Very good opportunities for Bruneian guys to make a surprise here. But for the time being, though, we are not going to the race because there's been a bit of a slight takeover. Now it is. Yeah. So there we go. I got the Midas touch.
Well, it always takes a little bit of time to get the transition. I mean, there's always a countdown timer, I believe, even if their drivers still left straggling outside at the end of qualifying. But now we're going to be able to get ourselves prepped and ready for our final race of the night. The gold class and the silver class racing together for 30 minutes here. Just look at the size of that grid that we have right now. We're on board with Sharif Dairani, which, by the way, also I'm musing at the fact that like a lot of our drivers have like their own custom liveries that are super intricate and complex. This guy just basically comes and just goes full red. That's all I need.
Compared to something like Alonso Marcos Lacambra, he even went for the Hatsune Miku font in his number plate. So he's got the Design Kings worked out. As now, we're going to get ready very soon here. Lights on the gantry. We're on board with Chester Lam. He has the whole shot right in front of him to take here as the lights come on the gantry. And when they go out, the gold and silver race will be underway. And that is the sort of start he wants. Has put it behind. We have a spin. And Acura has spun into the crowd. And oh, that's a big one there. Unfortunately, we cannot cut to that one yet because we need to see what's happening up in front. But it looks as though Chester Lam has held on to that. Keith Mo also gets through in P2 with Azza, Velasquez, and Sui coming behind. Now, who was that behind there actually was causing an accident. More accidents for the behind here, as there's a Toyota right in front. That might be Taufik Moyen. Yep, Taufik actually has in the wars. Oh no, look at that. More and more drivers come across in that tight chicane that gets up to the first of 3 straights.
Yeah, a lot of chaos going on behind, but at least in front right now, Chester Lam continues to lead ahead of Keith Moore right now, who is able to still stay in that 2nd place. Michael Velasquez able to move up to 3rd place now. He is ahead of Kanzani Ramdani and is attempting to try to hold there. Adam Harif has also made up a couple places up into 5th now, trying to get past a lot of the chaos. More chaos happening here as Gerlani Haki and Ahmad Jusmin gets almost into it. Ahmad Jusmin able to turn in the inside, takes the 11th place there away from Gerlandi Haki, and hopefully Gerlandi will continue to try to chase him down as we are still on the long straight here. Long way to go before they come to that sweeping right-hand turn as alongside the Peugeot comes that Cadillac, and he's attempting to close the door, does close the door in the exit, but going over the curbs there may not help his case.
Ooh, Ramdani nearly ran into the back of Velasquez.
Oh, no.
And guess what? He has actually stopped it, but right in front of Murdoch. Adam Harif had to jump on the brakes there. Luckily, though, no one behind collected him. And the biggest loser out of all of that is Muhammad Azza, who was up in the top 5. Now he's actually dropped it to P7. He has managed to recover a few positions, but a disastrous start alongside Taufik Moyen, who had to carve his way through the LMP2 field. And look at that. There's someone who's actually slowing on the line. It is Murdoch. Yeah, Adam Murdoch. He's actually stopped. And Azif Shami Mokhtar is out of it as well.
Yeah, he had to take a penalty there, I think, because of the track limit violation. So a bit unfortunate for him. It's, rather, it could be fortunate as well that it happened early on, because he will still have 27 and some minutes here in order to try to make up for that over the course of this race. And now on board again with Alonso Marcos Lacambra, now with Adam Harif here as he attempts to chase up to the Hatsune Miku car. Coming around the blind corner now onto the first of the straights here. He's not close enough to get that slipstream off of the off Alonso's car here. He's gonna have to try to close that gap. Does close it under braking here. Very nice into the S's here. Alonso looking a little bit out of shape. Adam Harif pounces on it immediately and takes the place away from the Pinoy driver. And Tessa Elog as well, getting in on the action, moves up ahead of Alonso Marcos Lacambra.
And I think because Lacambra got a penalty from cutting the chicane there, that allows Taufik Moyen, who's fast recovering from a disastrous start. I think he was the one that actually got out of the way trying to avoid somebody, but then crashes into a Porsche. Meanwhile, Lacambra cuts back on Elog, so this is the battle for the lead in the silver class. Would you believe that? They're both still going at it hammer and tongs, but the Hatsune Miku car has to give way to the Swifty car.
Yeah, it's looking, wow, it's still very close between the two of them as we come now into the final section. Look at that, riding so aggressively on the curbs, trying to gain the maximum amount of average speed throughout the corner here in order to stay close enough to Chesa Elog is Lacambra. Now are they side by side? It's looking like he's still not able to close that gap here on the main straight. We'll have to try in this next lap. Taufik Moyen in the meantime able to pull away from the two, so a lot more breathing space now for our two leaders in the silver class here to keep their battle going.
Oh, and unfortunately, someone who's not going to keep that battle going is Haywood Sui. He's out of it.
Well, no.
Haywood Sui, who's up in that top 10, is out of the race, and possibly because, again, the penalty track limits violations is enough to actually snare him up, and he's out of it. So what a promising start for the young Hong Konger. He was actually right up there in the mix, but the teenager unfortunately calls it quits because of track limits violations. We're still focusing on the battle in LMP2 in the silver class because it's still going neck and neck, side by side here. Chester Elog has actually put the fight to his fellow Filipino, and they're both on opposing sides here. Alonso Marcos Lacambra is with the Adrenaline Lions Motorsport team, while Chester Elog's with Swift Sim Racing, and there's no lump love between the two Filipinos. This time, however, it's Chester who gets the better of the two, but how does he? Because Slipstream is on. Yep. He's going to try to come up through the long right-hander, but no way through.
No way through yet. It's not under braking, especially for Alonso, but he's going to be content enough to stay behind the slipstream of Chester Elog through these laps here. It's going to be coming up to the main straight soon here, slowing down hard for this hairpin turn before the very end. Just behind him, Muhammad Kamal Ali putting some pressure here on the Shari Dairani as he's also being chased very hard by Zef Yen and Malubai just behind him, also in the silver class. Bit of a four-way scrap right now, and this is in the top 10 for the silver class.
Wow, and there's battles in every single class all the way around. We're looking at Lakambra and Elok just now. Here's Iman Ryan, the Bruneian, against Justin Raldev. And Raldev, unfortunately for the second straight race, looks as though he's not in his proper team livery. So we'll probably see what happened there. But regardless, he is up on the podium places, and that's what he wants, because unlike what happened to Aziz Shami Mokhtar, who's unfortunately not being able to rejoin the race, he is going to uphold some honor for the Papega boys.
Yeah, trying closing in on Iman Ryan from Brunei. Alonso also doing the same onto Chester here, fellow countrymen from the Philippines now, still neck to neck as we are approaching, already past actually, the 5-minute mark here for our 30-minute race. Ooh, getting very close there is Alonso. Chester Elok looking a little bit out of shape through that first bit, but managed to recover nicely by the time we got out of chicanes. Now it's going to be a long drag race. Alonso hopefully has enough momentum. He's trying to get a slipstream, but it doesn't seem to be working too well at this point here. Cameron James unfortunately has disconnected, so no chance now for the Malaysia to continue defending or challenging Chester Lam for the lead of the gold class here. That's very unfortunate.
Oh, wow. That's another prime character out of it here, as, well, that definitely was not one of the best highlights for the Handshake boys, because we already lost Shake Fitri even before the race started. Luis Yea didn't make the start either, and now Cameron James makes it a three-peat of not the type they would have wanted. So all hopes now for HSM rely on Adam Harif, and even then he actually had a bit of a shambolic start to this race.
Yeah, stuck behind Taufik Moin right now. Well, not exactly the right choice of words. He's still 6 seconds behind Taufik Moin throughout all of this, as Lakambra continues to keep the pressure going out on Chester Elok here. Now, we're now seeing them come around through the S's here. Very tricky part, but I think Chester might have just cooked it here. Alonso slips on the inside. A bit of a tap from behind there from Chester in frustration, but it's nothing he could do now because Alonso is already through.
Yeah, that is a good move on the inside there from Lakambra, and he parked it on the exit to stall Chester's momentum. We haven't been focusing on the hypercars much because the battle has been really good between the leaders of the silver class. Now we might have to go because Azza is up onto the rear end of Amir Naim, these two are teammates. So they do not want to come across here, especially given the fact that Bruneian hopes are riding high right now, with some support in the comments, and indeed back home here for the homeboys. So they do not want to stuff this up now, as behind them Galandi Haki is also making inroads between the both of them, as now we see some comments coming through. Alfika Askar, who was in P4 earlier in the bronze race, said that it was pretty boring. Well, opinions may differ. Some people had more exciting races than others, as we can safely say. We saw just now some gaggle of cars battling all the way through. And guess what? We're looking at right now here between the two Bruneians and an Indonesian involved behind here. So it might be a three-way scrap in the fastest car in the entire fastest car class in the entire series.
I mean, earlier on, like Galandi Haki was within half a second of Azhar, but now that Azhar has really caught up to Amirul Naim, that's allowing him to benefit off of the slipstream that comes off of the Toyota into his Cadillac. So right now, Gerlandi is struggling to actually keep up with the two of them here. But then again, you know, it's still quite a long race here. And I think to Aftiko's point, you know, these longer form races tend to be a lot more about management rather than straightforward dogfights. As Ahmad Jusmin now starting to put a bit of fight now onto Ayman Hakim. Looks like it's getting very close here.
Well, you did say just now, you don't need to have a bit of a dogfight in a long race. You can chuck that point, park it to the side for a while, because here's a couple of dogfights happening. So two distinct groups of battling cars right now, with Jusmin and Ayman Hakim battling here for P8, and then you got Naim Azhar and Hakim battling for P5. So they're in consequential positions to each other. So if something were to happen between the five of them, they will become one entire group of five after this. But though Jusmin may be not thinking of a group of five, he wants to get by this one to get to a group of four in front after this. Meanwhile, some comments coming in. Amir Ashraf says, Caster berdua ni baru sedap. That's,
thank you.
That's very nice. In translation, that he really likes the sound of us putting some words into the airwaves, and we'll continue to do that for the next 20 minutes or so, because we still have plenty of ground to cover here in Kazakhstan. But as we say right now, great success.
Great success indeed.
Borat references, if anyone was to
man, it's like we were discussing like what's Kazakhstan famous for, and like first thing that came to mind, space launches, because that's where the USSR used to launch rockets from. And unfortunately, the second famous thing is unfortunately something that didn't even come up from Kazakhstan itself.
Borat, yeah. And the fact that Baikonur Cosmodrome as we did say earlier in the bronze category, it's a minute away. No, not minute.
not minute.
A day away. It's a complete day away from here. So anything in Kazakhstan is desolate, and then you get to a place, and after that, more mirage. So that would be something that Kazakhs are used to. As meanwhile, something that is not mirage is Ahmad Guzmin right behind Ayman Hakim. He's on the slipstream.
Yep.
Ayman got a bad run onto this back straight, the most important straight on the entire circuit. And the Peugeot, the one without the Evo wing, has actually gotten the best run here, and he takes him.
You know, if it was real life, you know, I'll be talking about how much the lack of wing may have reduced the amount of drag. Maybe it might help him. Doesn't quite apply here, unfortunately, in the virtual world. But nevertheless, Ahmad Guzmin is certainly under no illusion that he is definitely faster than Ayman Hakim that time around. So it's well-deserved 8th place there for him now as he moves up into the positions here. Now we're still, 19 minutes remaining in this race. Still going to be a very, very long affair as Alonso Lacambra, especially after dispatching Chester Elog, such a long distance now, 2 whole seconds away from his second place competitor here. So that's an incredible amount of gain that he's actually been able to do here this race.
Wow, and Guzmin, something happened there because we just saw just now, he got in front of Ayman Hakim. Now he's dropped to P10. I think it might have been a penalty. He ran a bit wide the last corner, and then he might have triggered that. So that's why he is actually dropped on the edge of the top 10. He will still get some good points out of this, but after dispatching Ayman Hakim the first time, he will be ruining the fact that he has to do it all over again as something that Taufik Moyen's going to do. And look at this. That's a very familiar name. Oh, something happened?
Could keep more, actually. I think he may have run into a back marker. So quite a bit of damage done onto his car, actually. But looks like he managed to get past it, and it's looking, I mean, he's still 2 seconds ahead of Velasquez right now, so no major damage done here as far as his race is concerned, but the damage, the damage to the race is not so much, but the damage to the car, that could be something of concern right now, as Kelvin Powell is the interloper, unfortunately, as the gold class drivers now starting to lap some of the silver class drivers. I was worried about this.
Yep, and we're focusing on Kelvin right now because he was the one that actually hit Keith Mo. So that's why we're seeing on our live timing the damage indicator, because he was involved there somehow. So these two, well, despite them racing each other for a long time, might have actually come a cropper, and this will put pay to any sort of progress that Keepo is going to make, because look at that. Velasquez is only just under 2 seconds behind the kid in the Ferrari. So this race for the podium may not be over, and to put pay to the young Malaysians' hopes here, he's got Ramdhani, Amirul Naim, and Azza for company. So 4 cars spinning around like vultures for the behind here, waiting to pounce.
I was just reading something really funny in the chat, the server chat actually for this race here. Chesalam says, I paid for the whole CPU, I'm gonna use the whole CPU.
Well, it's something like in the Santa Corsa where, you know, the Shutoku Revival project.
Yep.
If you want to use 100% CPU, you get to use 100% CPU.
You know, there's literally a benchmark test here, right? So yeah, some love here to our current race leader, who right now is literally in a league of his own, 7 whole seconds ahead of Keith Moore, notwithstanding the incident that Keith Moore had with a back marker earlier on. There's certainly very comfortable gap now for Chester. I mean, he is all he needs to do right now is just bring it home in the next 16.5 minutes, and he's already guaranteed to keep the lead now, given that Cameron James is already out and DNF'd from this round.
Indeed. He's got Bardinik to overtake, and Bardia probably will feel a little bit of a sinking feeling after the highs of winning at Bathurst last week in one of his iRacing splits for the 12 hours of Bathurst. Looks as though he's back to terra firma for this one, because right now he is, where is he? P10 in the LMP2 category in silver. So might not be the best of ways to return to here, but regardless of that, he's proven a point that he has made a name for himself in the world of sim racing here. But, you know, baby steps along the way. You might get some great successes. You might also get some unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, not so great success for sure.
Not so great success.
But I think like one thing I wanted to highlight as well is like coming to the tracks that are less familiar to our drivers here, like Sokol for instance. It's always going to be concern, I think, when it comes to track limits, and we saw how many drivers had to unfortunately. Ooh, that's a close moment there.
Case in point there, you were talking about how close he can get and the track limits. Well, Ahmad Guzmin just snared another one, and that's why he had to back it off. Adam Harif has actually gotten the back of him. Oh, there we go. So Guzmin trying to recover after one of his best moments in terms of in race in terms of overtaking. Now he has to do it all over again, and this time he's got another one for company.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in front of him, at the battle of the two old guards, this is Aiman Hakim and Taufik Moyen, both drivers in their 30s right now, who have been sim racing for donkey's years. Well, they will probably be not wishing to be battling for P8. They would rather be battling for P1.
For sure. I mean, again, both of these drivers have been around since like the early history. I mean, you can see the amount of trophies that Taufik Moyen has had. That's a signifier of how much experience he has, you know, racing for so many years. And the fact is that even to this day, he still remains a very fierce competitor. May not, you know, be tossing it up with our the top over here in our gold class, but still a driver to be feared here out in track.
Indeed. And, you know, those are not just his sim racing trophies, his real life trophies as well, because he was a father.
Yeah, it does.
But unfortunately for him, he has gained a few stones, so he's probably not be able to.
It's a success ballast, you see.
Well, yes, natural
success ballast.
Because he's happy and healthy, married with kids, so
Yeah.
he can go for this. Oh no! Oh, Kelvin Powell!
Very close there.
Oh.
Kelvin Powell almost getting into the mix of that, but it looks like Adam Howard is able to avoid him just in the nick of time. Continues his by Ahmad Jusmi.
Yeah.
Barden Nick
Yeah.
stopping on the side of the track. They're hoping there's nothing wrong with him right now, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, Adam Harif continuing to keep the pressure. Look at that, literally right against the tail of Ahmad Jusmin. Now Ahmad definitely going to be feeling a bead of sweat come down straight, and it's right now Adam goes for the dive right on the blind corner. Not successfully made the move there, unfortunately. Still has to tuck in behind.
And look at it, he's quite aggressive here. He wants to make up for so much lost time!
No!
And nearly had no time to break there against Ahmad Jusmin. Jusmin had every right to, because it is a tight chicane. But again, maybe tire wear is coming to, because it is ×2 tire wear for the hypercars and LMP2, so it might be just going off.
And also with the average speeds you have in these hypercars, you see that how little time you have to react, right? Whenever a car slows down in front of you. So that's why these gold class drivers have so much more challenge ahead of them here, especially on a track like this. You know, when it's so close here, you still got traffic to contend with. Michael Vincent Velasquez, he was thinking about it, but literally cancels his action at the last possible moment there. Still stays in P4, but Amir Naim is just watching with glee right now because he sensed an opportunity here perhaps to make up a place.
Wow. And Bruneian actually has gotten the better of Azza. He's in front of his fellow Bruneian. But look at this. This is the sort of battle that we wanted to see up in front. But the sharp end, Chester Lam is running away with it. He definitely deserves his win because he has been fast in practice, fast in qualifying, and now dominating the race in impervious form. No doubt he will be extending his lead in the Gold Championship. But this real battle is going on right now, as you can see. Oh, that's close! Oh, very, very close! As James Ryan Malabai also tries to get out of the way from the hypercars. Velasquez nearly got rear-ended for a second straight time.
Oh my god, he literally had to go way off of the track to get out of Michael's way, but Amir Naiman still takes a slipstream anyway. It's going to be down to a braking battle here. Michael Vincent Velasquez still able to tuck in ahead, but he still has another slow corner coming up ahead. Heavy braking one indeed here. As Amir Naim now still sensing that opportunity, still keeping the pressure up onto Michael Vincent. Still trying very hard here to keep up with them, and the whole time Muhammad Azza, who had unfortunately dropped down to 6, is now looking like he might want to try to get into this mix as well.
Wowee. And you talk about glow-ups or late bloomers because you're talking about that in motorsports sporting terms. These guys from Brunei are definitely one of those guys that are late bloomers because Azza literally was showing his true prowess in the endurance editions. And guess what now? He and Brunei, his teammate from Apex Racing Brunei, are winning on it in terms of going up through the ranks. They're in gold together. Now they're fighting it with the best of the lot in around Southeast Asia and beyond to be up in fighting form here. But for the time being though, they will not want to trip each other up because they're still stuck behind Velasquez or Ramdani.
Again, with longer form races, it's always, you know, about playing the long game. You can try to go for some of those daredevil moves, but sometimes you have to balance that risk versus reward. You know, are you going to risk the points you have right now for a move that might end up you finishing outside of the points? It's always these kind of calculations that drivers have to do in their head all the time. You know, it's not always just about the driving, it's also about the racer IQ at times. But for now, things are looking like it's cooled down a little bit. The gaps are starting to widen up between our 4 drivers here in the gold class. I think I see Zeth Yen starting to put some moves onto Descalo, getting around the outside here of Alberto Miguel Descalo. doesn't quite find the speed on the exit though, but he's certainly getting closer and closer. It's got a gold class driver behind him though.
Ramdani has actually got caught up by that, and this will allow Velasquez to come and challenge him. They're on to the start-finish straight. There goes the Discolor right behind. Now, no, in fact, that is Zep Yuan being overtaken. Discolor's right in front. Up to turn number 1. Whoa! That is no way through there, and somehow he managed to get it stopped in time. But here comes the other drivers as well. Amir Naim and Azza. We're going to have to go on board with Azza here because he's got the best seat in the house. Look at that. Already outside. And a slight touch too.
Yeah, slight touch there, but he still comes through unabated. Still on Amir Naim's tail. Now finally having dispatched in silver class drivers. This is exactly what we were worried about. The silver class drivers becoming obstacles on track here for our gold class drivers during their battles.
And look, and speaking of that battle between the silver guys, Descalo and Zeph have swapped positions.
But he's looking like he wants to swap back here. Zeph Yuan breaking nicely still on that racing line. Alberto didn't quite challenge him hard on that one there. Maybe might be biding his time for this next one because the corner coming up to this, the straight coming up to this is going to be super long, but I don't think he's found the gap there to Zeph. He's going to be losing out on that slipstream here, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that is the resolution to that particular battle for now. We'll get back into it. As Juiceman now actually is going to have a slight ding-dong battle with one of the old guards in Taufik Moyen, and Taufik then showing that he could roll back the years and as if he never had the years taken away from him. But Juiceman, as I said about time, and that's a common enemy, isn't it? Time is an enemy to everybody, and for Juiceman, he has been accumulating so much of that penalty time that he's lost potential positions left, right, and center.
Yeah, I think always, every time you come to a new track, it's all about learning those track limits, knowing where are the places you can cut and where the places you cut literally at your own peril. And unfortunately, especially in a racing situation where things can get chaotic, sometimes those track limits just end up becoming, the major villain in your race, really. Amir Naim, though, closing in on the Michael. Michael, out of shape on that exit there. Still managed to keep it together, though, ahead of Amir Naim. But now blind corners coming up, a big straight coming up here. And let's see if Amir Naim is going to be able to keep up. It doesn't look like he's going to be gaining much of a slipstream advantage here, but it's still the chicanes coming up here.
Yep, to the left, right after this. As we saw just now, Raja Amir Shaka, I think was in the qualifying session. He unfortunately has backed out, so looking at another Toyota here. So another one of the Pepega drivers who made his who's making his season debut here, and unfortunately he's not going to take any part in it. So the one-time champion in Copper class will have to settle for no point for this one.
Yeah, well, in any case, he's still running very well here in the top 5. Kanzani Ramdani now looks like he's, I think he's cutting across a silver class driver here, Amir Afiq.
Yep.
Got me a little bit excited there for a second though, but no, it's just navigating traffic, Sometimes you can tell it's literally from the size difference between these two cars, right? Like, it's a bit harder to see, definitely inside the cockpit for sure, but I think for Ramdani, he's definitely going to be a bit relieved that, this time around, traffic didn't become an issue.
And you know what's the irony? Most of the LMDH cars that are not the Ferrari, Peugeot, or Toyota are LMDH cars, and those LMDH cars were basically oversized LMP2s anyway, because they decided to just take the shell of it and put it as a new regulation for what was DPI 2.0. It became LMDH instead. So that's why the size difference is there, but you can see some subtle similarities between the both of those. You can see there, case in point, Justin Raldev. You can still maintain the LMP size, but regardless, the LMDH and LMH cars rule the roost in the world of sports cars nowadays. And, well, guarding through the traffic has been quite a bit of a chore, but it has not broken the rhythm of these three guys battling for the podium positions.
Not at all. I mean, it's still been very consistent between the three of them, even in lap times, actually, when I look at it. Yeah, still within, like, 5/10 or even less between each other. All throughout. I mean, Delta is already starting to drop heavily here. Even Chesa Lam is like 1.5 seconds in the red for his Delta here. So certainly by this point, it's all about how well you have managed your tires. And, oh boy, Eman Ryan not paying attention to his rearview mirror. Almost ran into the side of Kanzani Ramdani. Now he's letting all the other gold class drivers through. So Michael Vincent as well as Amir Naim now able to get through unscathed here. But that was definitely a touch and go moment there for sure.
Yeah, and that would have cost him a podium position too right there, because Eman Ryan is running third in silver right now, 6 seconds behind Chester Elong. and a further 6 seconds as well, incidentally behind Lacambra. So Lacambra's got the battle of the Filipinos there. So the Pinoy Civil War has been settled in the favor of Alonso Marcos Lacambra. But despite that, he will still have to watch his mirrors too, because here comes the cavalry in the gold category, ready to lap him at will.
Well, that's so unfortunate there for Chester, but then again, you know, it's just the pace difference, isn't it? Between these LMDH and LMP2s, it's just inevitable. This is going to come to transpire. But Admiral Afik, though, still in that chase with Justin Raul Dev. Mind you, this is actually a battle for 4th position in the silver class, so still a lot of points on the line here between these two drivers. Justin Raul Dev now still able to stay ahead. Slows down quite a lot. Admiral Afik takes the opportunity and dives on the inside of the chicane, comes out ahead of Justin Raul Dev and blocks him off before to get to the straight.
Yeah, but unfortunately he has not blocked him enough in terms of momentum, because here comes Justin back on the inside with the slipstream. This is the longest straight of the entire circuit. Coming up now to the Libose clone here. Does he make it the inside? Side by side they go. These are between teammates, by the way. They wouldn't want to take each other out because they will take some precious points away. But Justin reclaims back 4th position away from Amir Rafi. Or does he? Amir comes back at him side by side, and this is still quite close. You can never tell which way this could go, because again, when it comes to the punch, who really is going to be in charge? And again, look at that, side by side they go. Amir Rafi actually pushes Justin off into the curb, and they're still at it side by side across the start-finish line.
Yep, still going to be a drag race going down to the first turn. It's still going to be Amir Afik with advantage, so he takes it. First things first in the entry. Justin's trying to catch him on the exit, but Amir Afik positions his car perfectly to block him off. Great defense here from Amir Afik, the so-called Italian driver right now, leading ahead of Justin Raul Dev, and it's going to leave him fuming for the next few minutes unless Justin can find a way through. Yeah,
Justin also, Ken, we saw him in qualifying. Wasn't the best of qualifying sessions. He was bogged a bit by the hypercars, and indeed some of the LMP2s that were a bit slow right in front of him. Now he has to face a similar nightmare, but in the form of his own teammate, would you believe it? Amir Rafi really got a bit between his teeth despite surviving a few scares of his own. He manages to get it up to P4, but how long can this go? Because again, something must break here if it battles between the two teammates. We saw just now in Copper, the TGS Pantera boys nearly wiped each other out a few times.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're reaching the very end of this race here, and with the Kaizami going around the outside, but both of them had to slow down. A silver class rider, I think that's Alonso, having to kind of dodge the two of them there as they slow down to take their penalty, but looks like Alonso finally navigates his way through. Look at that, just absolute chaos out here on track as Kanzani Ramdani's a little bit too slow coming out the exit. Michael Vincent Velasquez continues to run side by side with him onto the main straight. 2 minutes still remaining in this race, and this is a battle right now, absolutely for 4th place here. Michael Vincent on the inside, Kanzani around the outside. He has a lot more momentum. He's trying to take the inside of the next one. He does take it. He does take the position. He's up to 5th here. Michael down to 6th.
Oh, wow. I wonder who was the one that was to blame there for that one. Punch again. Ramdani has a half spin, and there we go. Haki as well is actually joining into this particular battle. Would you believe it? Velasquez with a big boy dive didn't pay off. He tried to cut back across a couple of times, didn't get it either, and now he's joining the phrase Galani Haki with the two Bruneians getting the better of both of them. Naim and Azar up to 3rd and 4th.
Dude, you can imagine it's so hard to fight, especially when the tires are being so worn already from all the racing for the last half hour. So they literally are running on very little grip here. It's impressive they've been able to keep it under control so far. Now, Michael Vincent Velasquez now chasing with Galani Haki. Galani's already ahead of him in his corner, but again, the slipstream is going to come back here for Michael. He's going to try to take the dive. Doesn't quite outbreak the Indonesian, who continues to stream on ahead here. But you got Alonso Lacambra blocking off there, and unfortunately he had to slow down.
Oh wow, and Lacambra as well has to actually break onto the middle of the point of the circuit because he wanted to let Velasquez by, and Velasquez, to his credit, he actually gave a lot of space to Haki, but Haki ran out of room to cut back at him, and now it's more spread out between that top 5 because we saw it was a 4-way battle. Now it's just considered transpired.
Yeah, 1.7 seconds now between him and Ramdani, so all that chaos is actually dropped. Michael Vincent Velasquez even further back right now. Maybe very difficult for him to catch up with 30 seconds remaining. I believe Chester Lam right now is may not be able to get to the line before the timer runs out, so this should be the final lap here as Chesalam is now cruising his way to absolute victory here at Sokol Circuit, Kazakhstan, 10 whole seconds ahead of Keith Mo. That's an incredible lead yet again.
Yeah, and Keith himself, to his credit, survived a few scares of his own. Remember, we saw just now in our timing screen the damage indicator that Keith literally walloped the back of Calvin Powell, and Calvin also suffered some damage here to the point that he couldn't even get around the circuit properly afterwards. So Keith survived his own scares, but ultimately he could not hold a candle to what is a very good performance from Chesterlam. The 88 on his car, very double ong indeed for the Hong Konger as he comes around the final corner then to take victory here in Sokol, and comprehensively so, to extend his championship lead. Flashes his lines across the line. He is absolutely chuffed with that one. Second place will be Keith Mo. He'll be happy to survive what was a very difficult race in any sort of circumstances with the damage that he accrued. As third place will be Amir Naim, and fourth will be Muhammad Azhar. But Velasquez will try to come across the line, but he cannot. He was only about 4/10 of a second behind Ramdani. He had a penalty again, and those two have been going at it hammer and tongs throughout the entire race. There will be a word or two to discuss between them, but an amazing race nonetheless for everyone involved. 7th place is Haki. Haki also probably had a penalty, that's why he has fallen behind too. 8th place will be Ayman Hakim, and he has some drivers in the field as well to get by. Here's Justin Raldev coming through to be overtaken, and 9th will be Jusmin, 10th will be Taufik Moyen. So that's your top 10 in the gold class, and all the old guards have finished as well. Lacambra, meanwhile, out of our sights, has won, and he's having a party.
There he is in our sights.
Yep. Having a party inside the first turn, but he's won silver. 2nd place will be Chester Elog after a great Titanic scrap in the first part of the race. 3rd is Imarayan, the Bruneian, and 4th and 5th will be taken by Amrafi and Justin Raldev in the Red Pack Papega cars. Wow. Take a breath, Vic. That was a tense, almost shambolic circumstances for some of the drivers, and ultimately a slow burner to what was a terrific race here, Vic.
Yeah, again, sometimes when it comes to racing, it's always, about the start, and it's also about the finish. Whatever happens in the middle is all about management, and really that's, I think, the name of the game for a lot of these drivers here, just managing their positions, managing their tire performance, and trying to save up enough of that performance to do those last-minute battles as we saw transpire here in the last 5 minutes. Great racing all around, though. I mean, super impressed, with the caliber of our gold and silver drivers here. And again, even with all the kind of all the chaos that happened, with cars trying to lap and unlap each other, it's just it's just an absolute miracle sometimes that these guys are able to get through unscathed. Shout out, I'd like to give a shout out to PRP Pluto Racing Project on Facebook, cheering for Chester Lam, number 88. So Chester getting a lot of love here from his fellow Hong Kongers.
Yep, his team is cheering him on here. And likewise, a couple of drivers as well, a couple of people as well, giving some love in the comment section, including someone who's actually saying nice work to Alonso Lacambra, Shang Wan, who is giving some hands for a really good race. And somebody just now, I think the comment was deleted, unfortunately, who was giving praises to Des Kokil, who was saying that he commentates football in English in Malaysia. So, yes. As it turns out, sports commentators can do multiple sports.
Hey, it's the name of the game. If you know how to talk, it's always a very useful skill in broadcasting for sure. Yep. But regardless, that's already the end of our gold and silver class races here. I mean, certainly a lot of congratulations here to Chester Lam. Here you go, more cheers from his own teammates here. Pluto Mok, shout out to you from Facebook, cheering on Chester Lam. Brilliant performance here from our Hong Kong driver. So we're going to be taking a short break, but hopefully we'll be right back later on with a bit of interviews and a bit of a wrap up here for our day here in round number 2. My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Ammo, aka Amir Hazik. We'll be right back after these messages.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
And we're back here in the eRacing GP. We've got Keith Mo in the house here for our interview. Keith, finishing second here in our gold class. How do you feel right at this moment?
Happy, I guess. Yeah.
Happy, I guess. Because I see you like rewatching the stream just now. Unfortunately, I think you had a bit of an incident during the race there
Yeah.
with one of the back markers. Can you describe what exactly happened? Kind of missed it on the cameras there.
I think I was trying to overtake the back marker, and then when I went outside the corner, like exit the corner, I was on his line, so I hit him in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was a lot of damage. I can only see from the live timing view there, like massive damage on the front bumper. Did you feel that really affected your race that much, or not really?
Yeah, it did affect a bit. The car felt a bit more understeery because the front was damaged.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, it's actually quite surprising to see that you're still able to survive through all that. I mean, regardless though, we're now coming into round number 2 here of our GE17. Sorry, we're coming into round number 3 soon into this. I mean, how do you feel about your chances right now in the as far as the points are concerned? Because it's still going to be quite a season to go here, isn't it?
I guess there might be a chance, but it's very hard considering the other drivers are a lot faster.
Yeah, again, we're talking about gold class, right? I mean, you know, driving on this new circuit here, Sokol circuit, like, I think a lot of drivers were kind of struggling a little bit with like getting to grips with this new track. What has been some of the difficulties you face, you know, coming to preparation here for round number 2?
I guess learning a new track and the track limits were a bit strict, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you had many like penalties due to track limits this time around, or do you think it kind of kept it nice and clean so far?
Sometimes it gets a bit too strict, but it does keep the race a bit cleaner.
That's fair. That's fair. In any case, we saw the comment here from Evo saying like turn 5 is like hell. I mean, did you agree with that? Like, it's the blind corner, right? Isn't it?
It was the one that
Yeah.
tightens up.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, but how do you feel overall about this new circuit here? It's something completely new for a lot of drivers here, I think.
It's a new track, so you learn a bit more, but it's fun learning new tracks. And this track is quite fun, so yeah.
Well, good to hear that. In any case, I'd like to give the floor to you. Would you like to shout out, give any shout outs to anyone or anyone you'd like to thank here?
Thank you, Coach Nakib, and my parents. Yeah.
A man of few words here. So thank you so much, Keith Moore, for joining us on this interview, and we wish you luck for the future rounds here in GE17.
Thank you.
I'm not sure where he's racing from, but it looks like he's racing from his kitchen. He definitely cooked something there to be up in second.
Well, certainly cooking there, especially having finished in second place here, and definitely a decent haul of points. You know, it's maybe certainly hard to catch up with Chester, given the back-to-back wins he's gotten here, but I think it's certainly a very good effort, especially with someone as young as Keith, right? So, in any case, that is Keith Moore, second place in the gold class. We have one more interview to go over here. Let's go ahead and jump over to Alonso Marcus Lacambra. Hey, looking very nice and sharp there, my man. Congratulations on the win here in silver class. Can you describe to us how do you feel at this point?
Yeah. I mean, just like what happened in, I believe, Global Edition 15 in Bahrain, it was very emotional for me. It's as you know, in Global Edition 16, I never was able to win a race, but came up runner-up last season. So to come here into round 2, I thought I'd have a chance because there were 4 cars. There's 4 cars fighting for the lead, of course. I thought it would be super intense, but as we've just seen in the race, I don't know what happened, to be honest, but I was able to take the win from Chester by around 8 seconds, if I'm correct.
I think that sounds about right.
I think it was 10 seconds, yeah.
10 seconds, yeah. I think on average, most of the winners have been able to finish like about 10 seconds, give or take. So I think it's about the same actually for you guys here in the silver class. And speaking of which, like with all the gold class drivers, you know, and being this track being feeling a little bit smaller, I think especially with the large grid we have here, how was sort of like the feeling of racing, you know, with all these other faster cars whizzing by you every time you're like thinking about setting up a move, etc. Could you describe a bit about how that feels from your perspective?
I mean, I think it's great experience for me because I'm really interested in going into like endurance championships. So if I were to join one, you know, I'd probably start off in GT3 class or something like that. Of course, we'll have to give the space for them. So I think for me, it's great experience to be able to drive a slower car against a faster grid, since it gives you the chance to really know how big of a speed difference it would be when you're fighting those cars.
And also, like on that same note, you know, this different race format B being a 30-minute race, how different do you feel is the preparation process or anything like that compared to what we had in round 1, which was the format A2 back-to-back races?
It's pre-recorded.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So as I was saying, how exactly do you feel the preparation has been different coming into this format of race compared to what we had in round 1?
I think race preparation really, it's not much of a big change because you're just merging race 1 and race 2 together. But I guess the big change is, you know, 30 minutes. That's more mentally stressful. I'm just glad I was able to really pass those 30 minutes, you know, listening to Eurobeat and stuff. But, it really helped, you know. I can't stand like 30 minutes of just engine noise, like straight pure engine noise. Like sure, they sound good, but like it really just takes a toll on you just hearing the same sound for like, you know, 30 minutes. So I guess the only change is the mental aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally feel you about that. You know, I always love putting up either like some good playlists, you know, while I'm driving, but also sometimes podcasts. I mean, whatever works, you know. But, you know, you say you use a lot of Eurobeat. What about Vocaloid? I mean, you literally have a Vocaloid on your car. Are you not listening to Hatsune Miku as you're pulling your qualifying laps here?
Actually, no, I was. I'm not sure if, like, I'm sure someone out there will know this. I was during my qualifying runs, I was listening to "World Is Mine" by Hatsune Miku.
Well, yeah, Emo.
Yep, and our producer as well behind the scenes, Imran, he is giving 2 thumbs up for this. Man of culture.
Yeah, man of culture, you guys are indeed. Well, Alonso, congratulations yet again for your silver class win here in round number 2. I'd like to give the floor to you. Any shout outs or any kind of thanks you'd like to give to the folks who are watching this broadcast right now?
Well, obviously, I gotta give thanks to my dad. He's been coaching me a lot throughout this, and as he's been for the last few seasons since coming back to ERGP. I guess I'd like to thank Hatsune Miku as well.
Of course.
I'd also like to thank one of my friends, actually. Maybe he's watching the stream right now. In that case, hello there. His name is Nick. He was kind of like my race engineer. He's been spotting for me. He gave me deltas on how far Chester was behind me, and I just couldn't believe he just said it kept gaining like 1 second a lap.
Wow. Okay.
And also, I'd just like to shout out all of my friends, actually. I think some of them were racing as well. Luke Morales, for one. Rain Alojado. Audric Fernando from last round. And then Yuan Bogayang, who I believe was supposed to join but could not in time.
Yeah.
That's everyone I'd like to shout out right now.
And also, let me give actually a shout out here to Evo. He's been one of your biggest supporters in our YouTube chat there. So 8 seconds and counting, he says in his last comment there. So, well, congratulations, Alonso Marcus Lacambra. It's good to see your performance here in round number 2, and wish you best of luck for the rest of the season here in GE17.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope that will remain. I hope I just don't get taken out like in Fuji.
Well, again, all the best for that for sure.
Thank you, guys.
I hope that Nick wasn't confused by Chester Lam, because Chester Ilong and Chester Lam, we just noticed that they have the same first names. So I think he was probably keeping tabs on everybody involved in that, but for sure, having someone in your ear to tell you where everybody is in relation to where you are is as important as having a radar on screen or a delta on site, because sometimes you just want an extra pair of eyes to give you assurances.
No, again, the psychological factor, as a competitor cannot be understated when you have, such a strong support system behind you. I mean, Lacambra with his father, Keith Moore as well with Rick, and then when you talk about other teams here like Handshake Sim Racing and Pepega Racing, having their whole clans, literally come out in full support for the drivers here, it always adds the extra boost, right? It actually gives you that extra motivation to want to do even better, than your initial targets, just because you got all that kind of support, all that love and behind you, and you just want to just absolutely do your best here. So it's great to see that. We've been running Global Edition now for 5 years, and it's great to see how things have sort of like grown and evolved alongside with us throughout this whole process.
Indeed. And coincidentally, I think the final round of the season on March the 21st will be exactly 5 years since we started, because we had the MCO in Malaysia, which is also different names for other people in other protocols for COVID measures, but it'll be exactly 5 years as we all started this. So it's quite surreal to think we've been out of that sense, but how it blossomed. So despite every cloud being there, there's always a silver lining behind it as usual. We got Evo still commenting about another driver coming into class very soon in Copper class, and see y'all indeed. Unfortunately, we're not gonna get Chester Lam because he's a bit camera shy.
I mean, again, we'll still wish him congratulations again. I mean, wow, he's gonna have such a dominant streak right now in the season here. We still have 2 more rounds to go. And on that note, for all of you guys at home, guys and gals, please go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channels, follow us on our social medias. That's going to be on Instagram, Facebook, and as well as X. So hopefully we'll be able to see you guys in the next round here. 2 more rounds still remain here in Global Edition 17 here, and this has been the eRacing GP for 2025. My name is Victor Cax. Joining me here is Amo, aka Amir Hazik. We have been your commentators, and we thank you all for joining us here this very night, and we wish you all good night and good luck, and see you in the next round.